Well, there is a lot that goes into making these game reviews, and there's actually so much that I could sit here for like 3 hours and still, there could be more things to talk about that I forgot to mention. I kind of just take for granted that there is a lot that goes into making these videos. See, for me, I don't really think about it that much because I've made over 100 episodes and I've become very efficient at it. So to me, it's like the same way I don't think about brushing my teeth. I do it so many times.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Crastinators podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and today, actually, we're starting a special new thing, but before we get to that, let's just see who's here with us. It's, of course, me, the best guy ever. We have Digibro with us.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
The Hypocrite.
Add me in post.
Tom Oliver.
Yo.
And the Devu Collective.
Zap Zappy.
Okay, so here's our thing, guys. We're doing a new thing. So, as I'm sure everyone in the world knows, the new Twitter for the PCP is officially made, and it's out there in the world. It's at TP Crastinators. So go find it there. There'll be a link in the description, all that good stuff. And what we did was that we asked people for suggestions for topics for the show. And so today is the first time that we are taking someone's suggestion, and it is at Spacey Filmer. It is their suggestion. I think that's a guy. I was going to say his, but I don't know for sure. And their suggestion was the writing/editing process. And I think this was a separate suggestion, nitpicking/overanalyzing. But since that applies to my writing and editing process, I'm going to pretend it was part of the same thing. So, who wants to start us off talking about their writing and editing process?
Nate, why don't you, since you have the most complicated and intimate and deeply disturbing process of us all. I think yours is going to be the one that makes the rest of us look like we don't work.
Yeah.
I think that's probably true. It was funny, just before we started, Tom said, if editing a video takes more than 1 day, I want to kill myself. And here I am, looking at my chart I've got here, 2 weeks into this current project at 53% completion. And yes, I've been calculating it, and that's the exact
what's
percentage.
your average hours per day you've been working on it?
About 5 hours per day.
Oh my gosh.
Every day?
Every day, that's right.
Holy shit.
Gashamunga.
You see, these things are not practical, but I do them anyway because, and this whole project, I've been working on Ghost in the Shell, but I decided to pick up this one just as to get something out because it'd been a little while since I'd put out a big video. Of course, I can't remember what the fuck the word was a masterpiece, but I thought I'd do something else a little more in tune with my regular content. And of course, like everything, it's taken way too long. But anyway, so I mean, for this current video I'm working on, I just had an idea, and it was kind of similar to my process for making the first Gurren Lagann best guy ever, whatever video it was, where I had an idea and I just did whatever it took to make it real, whether or not it was practical or not. But since that was the first video for the channel, that didn't matter. But I think probably the process of making shit is more interesting for things like the part 2 of the Gurren Lagann one. So for that, I had an idea. It always starts with just the seed of an idea for the video to make, of course. Right. And it was, so the context of making that was just, I've already got, this initial kind of like reaction to the show in this case, and now I want to expand on the reasons why I like it so much. So I always start with like a thesis statement of that nature. And then, like, the way that I made that into a video was first watch the whole thing like twice. So I watched the whole episode, the whole show through, and as I went through, I just took notes on every single episode and everything that I thought that was noteworthy. I then took all those notes, having completed that, and organized them into a series of topics that were relevant for the thing I was trying to make. So I did that, and then I organized them into like an order that made sense to get to the ultimate point I was trying to make, which in this case was the stuff about how like it's like there's things to be learned from Gurren Lagann, and it all these practical lessons that it's trying to teach us. And so everything was like building to that point. And then I had to go through, and because the video was already because there were way too many topics, I had to like cut a bunch of shit that wasn't directly related to what I was talking about. Like that video only focuses on like narrative stuff. It doesn't talk at all about like art or any of that stuff. So all that stuff I just threw aside because it wasn't pertinent. And then I converted those notes into a script. And this was probably like the hardest step, turning them into actual sentences and doing that shit. I mean, that took a while. And this, up to that point, that was probably like 2 to 3 months of work. And then at that point, it was just the 3-month more process of converting all those notes. Or I did the voiceover, did the voice recording, that's fine. And once I have the voice recording, I do that first. I then go back over it. I drop that shit in Vegas or Premiere or whatever, and then I just start from the beginning and just start editing all the way through. Yeah, what's up?
Sorry to cut off your momentum there.
No problem.
The what you're describing to me, this is like, in my mind, like the classical idea of like how to go about. Like, this is, and I don't just mean that in like the writing sense. Like the whole concept of the video is like back when I started as an anime writer, like exactly what you're doing is what I sort of dreamed of. Like
sure.
I saw it as you've got your favorite shows, and nothing in the world matters in the face of just talking about your favorite shows. Like everything else you talk about is, you know, because it's whatever, you're just interested for a week or so, you know, it's just a little flight of fancy. Oh, well, here's an idea I had for a video. But your favorite shows is like, you know, these titans that you feel like you're never going to be able to sleep right until you've done it, you know, until you've really sold everyone on why it's so special. And for me, like, I had this thing I did starting in, like, 2009 called The Epic Journey, where I was, because, you know, I was a fucking teenager, and the word epic was the word back then that you used. So, yeah, The Epic Journey, the idea was, like, I was going to analyze or just, like, talk about all of my favorite anime. And, like, first I would write about, like, how I remembered them, then rewatch the show, and then watch it again while like writing about it. And I did this with FLCL, where that's the only one I ever actually did to completion. But I wrote about it beforehand, watched the commentaries, watched all the episodes, wrote these like in-depth analytical pieces about each episode. So I covered all 6 episodes, and then like a final thoughts kind of piece, you know. So it was like this big, huge like project. But then the prospect of doing that for every favorite show I have is like it's so much. Like it was so much work just to do FLCL. And like, you know, for a long time I dreamed of doing things the way you're doing. Like when I what finally like got me past that was Evangelion, because I wanted to tackle Eva, but I felt like I have to say everything there is to say about it. Like there has to be no stone left unturned. Because so many people have talked about it before, it has to be the ultimate. It has to be the most thorough analysis of Eva possible. And what I had planned to do was to do a podcast about every single episode, half of them with like guests, where I'd take people who I know have like talked about the show, like Demolition D, Goat Jesus, Jesse. You know, I had all of I had already told all of them about this. Like this was gonna happen, this huge project of podcasting every episode, and then I was gonna take all of the ideas presented by everybody in all the podcasts, and then write a book about Eva, like a full stop book, and cover everything. And that project is just so huge that there was no way it would happen. It was like, you know, I'd think about it and I'm just like, if I start on this is going to be my life for half a year, you know, which is exactly what your
Well, I mean, it was
been,
never my
you know?
goal. I see what you're saying, but it was never my goal to talk in depth about every aspect of the show. And in my opinion, I only talked about a very narrow range of ideas. I only talked about specifically like the scientific application and like the philosophical meaning behind the show.
Sure.
I mean, I would have loved to spend time talking about like the humor of the show, which I think is nobody talks about like analyzing humor and stuff, and that
it's a huge problem,
including me.
In the whole in all of analysis. No one's doing good analysis of comedy and humor.
It's tough. It's a shame.
But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you didn't cover absolutely everything, because when I finished your video, I like mental note, I still get to do cool character designs Gurren Lagann, which I'd planned for.
Yes, you do.
Long before you ever made your video, I had that plan. You know, that was always going to happen, and it finally did. But you know, that's I just think that sure, you didn't cover absolutely everything, but it's just that mindset of like, I have to say all that I have to say and make it this big, huge deal, you know? And what finally got me past that was looking at Ava and just going, all right, maybe one day I can write a book about Ava. But for now, what if I just like, every time I have a thought about the show, let's make a video about it, you know? Doesn't have to be the whole thing. Just every single time I have some thought that hasn't been expressed, let's make a video about it. And I sort of went with that approach, and I've made like 7 or 8 Ava videos that people seem to really like.
Well, okay, but I mean, this does tie into my video making process. I mean, at this point in my career, I guess you'd say, I feel that I need to do things to distinguish myself from everyone out there, and I think I'm definitely doing so. And to be honest, I think I'm making some of the best content when it actually comes out, which is rare, and obviously that's a huge problem. So, I mean, do you think that's a mistake? I mean, obviously it's not the most efficient way of doing things, but I
think it's not a mistake because, I mean, you're getting more subscribers for less
10K today,
less,
baby. I can feel it. I can
for less
feel it.
content because people really like the quality level.
Mm-hmm.
If they just wanted to, I mean, the way I think about my videos is I could technically do the stuff you do, and it would take probably a bit longer because I'm not used to doing that. But I don't care so much about it being as flashy as possible because I just want things to be made. And it's like, but as a result, I don't get quite as much clout or whatever word I'm trying to think of.
Yeah.
Like I'm not seen as like the flashiest, coolest guy.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about this in my last decompression vlog, that like people look at Nate or Jesse and they look at those big videos, and those are videos that like they will always be coming back to and talking about and thinking about. Like, I think for most people who've seen the Gurren Lagann analysis, that is now like intrinsically tied into Gurren Lagann for them. Like it's not like it's not like a YouTube video about the show. It's like a part of the show. It's part of how they recognize it now,
Yeah.
And
you're Sorted Online and Asterisk War, I'm sure, are similar for people like
certainly,
that.
Yeah. Especially Asterisk War, because for most people that's the only exposure.
I mean, yeah, people didn't have much to say about it before that, I'm sure.
I think it's great that you do those kinds of videos, and I'd love for you to always have them come out, once in a while. But I think that, well, here's what's gonna save you, is that you don't have that many favorites. Like, there's not that many shows
That's
I think
true.
you could cover this way. Like, I mean, there's Ghost in the Shell, there's One Piece, there's Star Trek TNG, and like once we've covered all those, there's not going to be a need for a 50-minute best guy ever analysis about something, because you've covered the giants that you care about.
You know what's a shame about this whole thing? I think I can get away with continuing this sort of thing with, like, we're going to Ghost in the Shell now, but I've already in my mind come up with a solution to this, which is just basically just splitting up the fucking video. And then, like, by doing that, I can still talk in as much depth and crazy editing as I want, but a video will come out maybe every month, possibly every 2 months, just because they're all part of a series, as opposed to, one. Like, it was a big mistake to do all of Gurren Lagann in one thing. It's great. I love that it's a package, but,
that's what I've been doing with my Rayman review.
Right, and it's perfect.
Like, the
That's
first
exactly
part
the right way to go.
The part that yesterday gave was really good.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
But, the part 1 is 10 minutes long, but if I had included the rest of the part 1 that I've written, it would be maybe 40 minutes long. Part 2 is going to be 20 minutes. I don't know how many parts it's going to have. I really wrote too much, but having that little, 10 minutes is decent enough for a...
It's important for guys like us, at our early stage of the YouTube game here, to be producing, just shit as fast as possible and to get ourselves out there as best we can. And by the way, before we move on from the how great I am thing, now is an appropriate time for me to put out the story about how yesterday, Sai, a man with 150,000 subscribers, came to me asking me for creative expertise on how to edit something better. So I'm just saying, people out there are taking note of what I can do.
I mean, for the record, Nate, I have 250,000 subscribers. I would definitely come to you
but
for editing.
You don't matter. You don't matter. You're a nobody.
If I wanted to know how to make a screen stretch and explode, I would ask you about it for sure.
Right, but we're friends. I've known you for a long time.
Continuing
he's
on
a new
that
guy.
thought of like the splitting videos in parts, and I want to touch on that, how that happens for me, and it sounds like it's going this way for you guys as well. That because it used to be that you would write a video to be shorter because YouTube audience like retention was so low. You know, people's average 3 to 5 minutes watch time per video, and it used to be that people tried to keep videos short or tried to break them into parts so that more people would watch it. That is not a concern anymore. Modern YouTube, length does not matter. You've got Matthew Matosis putting out 6 fucking hour-long commentaries that have, you know, well over 100,000 views. There's the market's there. But what it's become now is it's really about money. And, like, I say that with as little cynicism as possible, but, like, we need to be able to make enough money to make if I make a video like that's like Mob Psycho 100, you know, the one I did on that, it's like 7 minutes long, and I it's like concept to completion in like a day. You know, I watched the whole show. I already knew, like, Victor had already given me an idea of something to say about it, because Victor like requested me to watch that show and do an analysis of it. He kind of like gave me the idea of what it was going to be like. So I watched the show. I already have in mind what I'm going to say about it. I write the video, I give it to Devu, he edits it that night. You know, it's out within like 24 hours of being conceptualized.
That's a beautiful thing.
And that video, you know, if I post it on YouTube and it gets, and that video has a shit ton of views because it was a popular show, but like, I can post that out and I can post it on Patreon and it's like considered one video, you know? Then you've got Akiyuki Shinbo in the 90s, which is months of watching anime. You know, like it's tons and tons of shows that me and Devu watched. And, you know, it's 40 minutes long in total between the two parts. And, you know, Devu spent days editing that. And the product, if it was one video, if it had just been one video, it would have had like 50,000 views, much less than Mob Psycho had, you know, and it would only be one post on Patreon, so it makes just as much money as Mob Psycho did, and if not less, because it depends on when it comes out in the month, you know, and like So for me, it, like, that video was written as one video. I just arbitrarily split it at a point where it could be split into two, and each one is substantial. Neither
well, you know,
one...
there's no problem with splitting a video. I mean, who suffers when you split a video into two parts? Nobody. It just comes out a little later. You know,
it's just, I think it's interesting that that's kind of the way we're having to do things, because YouTube rewards frequency. It rewards multiple uploads. It rewards people remaining on your channel for multiple videos. That's a huge part of how you get paid. Is when people go through your catalog, or they go from your videos to another one. And, you know, longer videos are actually better for the YouTube algorithm, but multiple long videos in a string is even better still, you know, and each one will probably have better retention on its own than the whole one would have had,
it's crazy,
you know, by
how
itself.
Fast you can get to 100K if you make videos for your niche every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You need to be frequent. I mean, and even for the big channels, this is like a huge concern. Like, you saw how H3H3, you know, had split between Ethan and Hila and H3H3, and they were posting way more on Ethan and Hila, and they were like, this is killing our main channel, because it's not getting the, you know, because we're only uploading once every 2 weeks as opposed to once every 2 days, our fucking, you know, rates are just dropping. So we're fusing our channel so this won't happen. I mean, that's a channel with 2 million fucking subscribers making crazy money, and even they're like worried about the frequency of their uploads and shit, you know, and like, that's, if you want that growth, if you want that steady growth, and if you want to keep making money, you got to have frequency and some regularity, and like, and each individual, like, you know, splitting a 40-minute video in two. I mean, I could have split it into fucking 4, but I just don't, you know, I like it to be in these big chunks. I wanted you to get enough of the narrative to get invested.
A huge difference, because with Rebel Pixels, I've been releasing one video every week, every 2 weeks for like the last year, and just the last 2 weeks I started doing vlogs, and now there's 2 videos a week. My subscriber growth month over month tripled, and view count doubled, and earnings doubled.
You know, that's why I was so happy with just when I saw Gibbs' video, the I can't remember the fucking word, you know, whatever, and I just like, this is hilarious. I'd love to make something like this. And just that night, like, it came out in the morning. I watched it while I was at work. That night I rushed home, and in the span of like 5 hours, I was able to get a video done. And I was just so thrilled about that fact. I was able to get something done that I had to put it on the main channel instead of Bestie Boy, which it obviously belongs on. But I was just so thrilled to actually have something to post with that level of speed that I couldn't help myself.
It's a great video.
Yeah, but
I
we should be talking about the process of making videos rather.
Oh, there was only one thing. We can move on from me. There was only one other thing that I thought was interesting that people might enjoy hearing about my editing style, and it's that. So I had talked a bunch before about how I get up to the point of I've now got my my voice recording of the script, and then I just start to edit through it. But did you know, viewer, that the first thing I do after I have the voice recording script, before I do any visual editing, is I go and I pick music for every section of the video. And not only do I just put an appropriate sounding song behind it, I do, and it works. It's amazing how well this usually works out. I attempt to like sync important things with like relevant like beats and drops in the audio. And sometimes it works out astoundingly well. Like, remember in at the end of the Gurren Lagann Part 2 video, I'm playing that song from Bravely Default. It's like the ending theme song, and like there's all this epic shit going on. And when I say personal fucking responsibility, like the song just happened to drop exactly at the right time for me to like put that explosion and be like, and it was synchronicity of a fascinating degree.
Serendipity is the word.
It was serendipity, that's right. And then, so yeah, I do that, and then I edit the visuals, and I put a bunch of memes, all that shit. So there you go. That's an interesting insight into how I do things. So
That's
we can move
weird,
on from
'cause-
me now if we want to talk about somebody else's.
Well, I guess I'll go because
Yeah, do it.
speaking about the music, I usually leave the music until after I have all the visuals in place.
Shameful.
I know. Well, I mean, sometimes I think, oh, I've got to have a specific thing here, but usually I just like having something vaguely relevant and, upbeat to keep it going smoothly. But yeah, music is, I don't really think about it too much, even though I like music a lot. But
I actually have several. I think about it way too much, and I have a folder of songs that I think will evoke certain emotions on my computer that I just have in place for when I'm going to use them. And I've already got like 3 picked out for Ghost in the Shell at various points.
Yeah, I tried to make like a
glorious.
database of that, like collect songs I could possibly use as background and add tags to like label their aesthetic elements, and I gave up.
I
don't have an organized system or anything. Anyway, sorry, Gabe.
Well, I guess I'll talk about my writing style, because it's quite regimented now. What I have a Google Doc called Video Ideas, and every time I have an idea for a game that I want to talk about at some point or something, I go in there and I just write it down in a big long list. And whenever I start to write it, I make another Google Doc and then link to that Google Doc in the Video Ideas document. So I have a big old thing where I can scroll through and see which I highlight which ones I finished, which ones I've recorded the audio for, and which ones I just need to edit. And I've got a whole big thing of that.
Hey, can I ask you a question about your process? I'm just curious if you're like me in this one aspect of when I'm writing a script. And I've thought that you're more like this than anybody else, I think. When I'm writing a script, I find it extremely hard to write anything that I think will actually be funny, like any real jokes. But when I'm editing and I have like my fairly serious voice, it's really easy for me to just put something retarded and it's hilarious, like juxtaposed against the fairly serious things I'm saying. Do you do that too? Is that where you get most of your humor?
I think, well, I do write a lot of jokes into my scripts. Like if I'll just look at a script now. Yeah, I would put in, like, in asterisks, how I would edit something to be funny.
Yeah, I do that too.
Pause for effect, zoom in on this guy's face after I say, oh dear. Like, I actually write that into the script as I'm going. Like, that'll sound good. Sometimes the live action stuff that I record doesn't actually work in the way that I intended it to, or the way I wanted it to, but when I am editing, I can sometimes make it better. Like, some of the live action sections in that Rayman video, I didn't like them. But I added some weird effects, and then they were funny. Well, more funny than not.
There's a lot of changing things as it goes along to make it flow better, I experience.
So the way I do the reviews, I mean, it used to be different. For Dark Cloud, I didn't play the game at all. I just knew it so well that I wrote the entire thing and then played the game to get some footage. But nowadays, obviously, it's a better idea to play the game and take notes. If you've ever watched AVGN, he has a video where he goes through his editing process called, I think he does picks just a random game, and he goes through the entire process of playing the game, writing the review, editing it and all that, and it's really interesting and really informative. So you should look at that, AVGN, making of an AVGN episode. And I based a lot of how I write scripts and take notes off of that, especially for GRPJ, I think. No, not GRPJ. Yeah. I can't remember what I do.
Or the minuscule review?
No, minuscule reviews are just sort of like, I just write about it, and I don't take... Yeah, the thing about minuscule reviews is that there's no live action, there's no big skits, it's just sort of me being a goof and playing a game.
Mm-hmm. Those are probably the most, like, traditionally probably would be successful YouTube videos.
Yeah, if I could make loads of those all the time, then I would.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to make a big hypocrite video.
How hypocritical of you.
Sure.
Not really.
Fuck up. You really are the best guy ever.
Oh no.
But yeah, I write down things. Oh, specifically regarding game footage, because making a video game review is harder than anime in the fact that you have to get footage for everything you're talking about.
Oh yeah, totally.
So I would only try to write notes on stuff that I'm actually doing. So I would play the game, something like Rayman. I would record like level 1, the whole level through, and then stop recording so that I have a file of that level and just name it that level, and then continue playing. And every time there's like something particularly like if I need to look at a walkthrough for a certain part that's hard, I write down in my notes, this part's really hard. This is the link to the walkthrough that I'm looking at in case I need to take a screenshot and put that in.
Man, that's interesting. Early on into me making video game related videos, especially back then when I didn't have a very powerful computer, where editing with files that were very long at all just completely choked up the editing software.
Yeah, so, it's really annoying to scrub through a whole like 2-hour thing. So right, I always try to split it.
I was not very good at scrubbing either at the time, so I was just splitting the recording up every like 2 to 5 minutes. Like every time it felt like I was doing a different thing, I would break it up and make a new recording, and then when I was done, I would, after writing the video, think about the different dynamics of the game that I'm going to talk about, and then look at each of the individual clips and put them into folders corresponding to the different things. Like, hey, this clip shows off the level design pretty well, this clip shows off the main villain pretty well, put them in their respective folders, and that's how I did that. But I haven't really made any video game videos in a long time, so I don't even know how I would do it now.
See, that's quite a clever thing to do, because what I do with just having a level, usually what I'm writing the script, I'm like, I go through, level by level things that happen, so I'm sort of walking through the game as I analyze it and stuff. But sometimes I can't find a particular moment in a thing, but I know it's in a level, so I just go to that level, and I still have to scrub sometimes, quite a bit. If I had the patience to put things into specific folders so I could just instantly grab them from there, that would be pretty good.
To comment on this, because obviously I'm not as known for doing game videos as you, but I have done a number of them, and it's funny because my process is like almost entirely built out of desperation to do as little work on it as possible, right? Because I hate editing.
That's a smart way to go.
And I hate capturing footage, because when I play through a game, it's usually like I don't usually play a game intending to analyze it. Like most of the games that I have written about, I had the idea after the game, and then it's like there's no fucking way I'm gonna play through the whole thing again to capture the footage. But I need enough. I need enough to work with. So I'll use I'll use as much Let's Play footage as I can find. If I'm talking about specific moments, if it's like this boss is super hard or whatever, I'll just grab a Let's Play. And it's kind of funny to me that like gaming YouTubers like seem to be so like proud and particular about capturing their own footage and about like having it be like 60 frames 1080p, which is like a lot.
I don't care about that. I mean, when it comes to the footage, me recording it, it's mostly just because I have done the whole let's look at Let's Plays and get the footage, it's easier thing, but it's so frustrating when they don't have the specific moment that I'm looking for, or like the videos, all the Let's Plays are like really bad quality, or like one of them's a low quality but it has the bit you need, and all the high quality footage doesn't have what you need. It's like
I've gone through that, but like for me, I mean I don't fucking care. Like if it's low quality for like 10 seconds, I don't care, because the audience they're not gonna say anything. You know, I've never had a complaint about it, and I get why, like, for guys like Hyperbit Hero and Gaming Brit and stuff, you know, they want the 60 frames because they really care about that stuff. Like,
those
they
guys,
want
they're fucking 60 frames per
yeah,
second.
like they're so into the idea of like all games have to be 60 frames, and I
hear
have to
that
prove
if
it
you
through my.
kill yourself in the name of video games, you go to heaven and live in a giant bed with 60 virgin frames.
you it's like they think that by
Is a virgin frame a frame with no picture in it?
Yeah.
they think
Is
that
that
by
what it
like
is?
putting the 60 frame 1080p video on YouTube that's gonna help like sell people on that. But the reality
Yeah.
is that fucking 99% of everybody is watching it windowed in 720. You know, we're not
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
upscaling it. 60 frames makes my fucking computer chug, even on, you know, because YouTube's horribly optimized for it. So like, I'm not going to fucking watch your video in 60 frames. I'm not even going to play the game in 60 frames. But, like, when it comes to me collecting footage for a video, like, when I did the Bloodborne versus Dark Souls player character one, it was like, most of the Dark Souls footage was from me and Victor's Let's Play of Dark Souls, which was shitty looking in itself because I had bad encoding for a lot of it. And then I, like, you know, grabbed, like, cutscene footage from different Let's Plays and stuff, or just cutscene uploads on YouTube. And then, like, for Bloodborne, I captured a bunch of me, like, testing out all the weapons, so because I, like, really needed footage of, like, somebody just using weapons and stuff. But, like, it was just, you know, maybe 10
Luckily,
minutes
the PS4 makes that pretty easy with its
Yeah.
whole recording thing.
Well, that thing sucks because you can only record 15 minutes at a time. You have to start it.
Yeah,
over,
it's
and
pretty
fucking
retarded.
But I have an Elgato, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So yeah, I recorded like probably like 20 minutes worth of my own footage for that, and then, you know, pulled again cutscene footage and stuff from online. So like for me, it's just like, how can I possibly edit this with as little of me recording and like as specific of me recording as possible, so that I don't have to scrub through anything. And, you know, I'm willing to show really non-specific shit, you know, just like because a lot of my videos are like me rambling about broad concepts anyway, so it doesn't need to be like a specific boss or something. But like, yeah, there's like a sense of, when I edit, there's a sense of desperation to be like, I just want this fucking thing to be out. I don't want to have to go through, you know. A huge part of why I have Devu edit my videos, and we'll get to this when we talk about his editing process as well, is that Devu will, I'll have him watch an entire show for a video. You know, it'll be like, here's Mob Psycho. We just watched the whole show together. He goes and edits it, and he puts all 13 episodes of the show into a thing, and then he edits it. What I do is any episode that I mention something that, like, from that episode, I take that, like, let's say I mentioned that there's a certain bad guy who does this. So I'll download the episode where that guy's from, and I'll put that in there. Everything else is episode 1, like, or episode 2.
Sure,
like,
sure.
It's just
when you don't,
anything,
you don't need that bit. Yeah, that's totally appropriate.
anything that's not specific is just going to be from episode 1, so that I don't have to edit every, you know, I don't have to go through every episode looking for stuff. But that, I mean, clearly what Devu's doing makes a better product. You know, like, that's why I hire him to do it, because he pulls scenes that I would have forgotten about or just not bothered with. Whereas for me, like, oftentimes by the time I'm done editing an anime video, I have used all of the good parts from episode 1. Like, I have gutted that thing to death, you know, and probably there's like some 30-second chunk of the episode that just isn't edited at all somewhere in there, you know. Like, for me, it's like, how can I maximize impact with minimal effort? But
it's funny. If you could see, like, the way my files look, I have, you know, in Vegas, how you can put those, like, orange lines with, like, a message indicator of like, or a tag or whatever.
I discovered
like,
those
my
because
timeline
of,
is fucking full of, like, specific things that need to go here, 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 here for a full fucking.
I discovered that
crazy.
kind of Vegas note taking because of Neil X when he was doing the Elements of Brony series, because I had to render those for him because, like, his laptop like was weak and he needed it for work, and he was like
he
rendering
edited those on a fucking laptop.
Yeah, and he was like, you know, rendering this will literally seize up my laptop all day. I won't even be able to use it. So he would send me all the files on Copy, which is like a Dropbox alternative.
That is dead now.
Dude,
Yeah.
my fucking the first Gurren Lagann video, the music one, I made that whole thing on a laptop too, and that fucking thing, like, Vegas, it was too long. I used like clips from like fucking 100 episodes, like 2 movies. They were all in the timeline, all to be loaded every time I opened it. It was like a 10-minute process just waiting for that thing to load. And after a while, the fucking thing would not play in the fucking preview window. So my tests for editing were to render the section, see if it looked okay. If not, okay, adjust it, render it again,
God.
see if it looked
I've
better.
been in that
That's why
situation
that
before.
video took 6 months to fucking make. All right.
Jesus.
Anyway,
It's a
But-
nightmare.
I know what that's like.
Anyway, I was.
Well, sorry. The point I was making about Neil is that he would send me like all of his project files, which are these huge folders, because those videos were long as shit and they had tons and tons of sources. And he would have just like shitloads of like notation markers with like, you know, full sentences in them, like huge descriptions, like everything. Because Neil is a fucking lawyer, you know. He's a study guy. He knows how to take notes and shit. And like, you open up his book and it looks like fucking Twilight Sparkles annotations on a fucking book. You know, it's crazy how much stuff was in there. I was like, I didn't know Vegas could do this stuff. And to me, it's also pointless because I'm like, I don't need this organization. I can just memorize what everything is, you know. But I guess for some people, it's more necessary.
But yeah,
you're a genius, Digi. We're all just a bunch of fucking fuckboy idiots. That's all right. I agree.
But, yeah,
I just have good memory.
But what was I saying? Oh yeah, in relation to like,
forgive the fucking 10-minute tangent, Give.
Yeah, I fucking. Oh yeah, Nate, the thing you were saying about every video about something you love having to, or whoever said it, being something you love, you have this feeling of you have to talk about everything properly and stuff. That's how I think the way I write and the way that the fact that I record the gameplay is because I need to make sure that I'm right about whatever I'm about to say. So if I do my Ratchet and Clank video, like I played the whole game again and I record it, and you know, while I'm playing it I may as well record it so I have the footage of what I want to talk about, and I play the whole thing again just to make sure that yes, that is true, what I'm saying.
Dude,
is,
there is
but
nothing
for every
more
minuscule
devastating.
review, any minuscule review is like a game that I'm not that interested in, and I can make a short video and I can leave out a lot of analysis, and it's mostly just me just talking about something very vaguely. But hypocrite reviews, they're usually long because I want to make sure that everything I say is real.
Yeah.
There is nothing more devastating than putting something in a video that turns out to be wrong in any way. And this is also what I'm bad about this, because I judge people extremely harshly if they get anything wrong in their videos too. Like when in the Gurren Lagann, when I said that Neo was 14, or when I said Yoko was 14, people were like, "No, she's not. What are you talking about, dude?" And this consumed me for like a month, and I had to do like an in-depth research campaign because I realized I actually had not investigated this thoroughly enough to make that claim. But in time, I was proven out to be correct.
I believe I found the proof for you.
It was on some website or something.
Well, when
developers.
you were looking for it, and I got interested, and then like what I found was the official Gurren Lagann website, like in Japanese. Like when you translated it, it said like Yoko is Simon's age. Like it specifically says that.
Yeah, something like that.
So that's how
I remember we
figured.
had a big argument in like, because there's 2 uploads for that Gurren Lagann video. The first one that's in my playlist of like deleted videos or whatever because it got fucked up by copyright. There's a comment thread in there that's like the full discussion about why that is in fact true. So I'll have to refer to that.
But oh god, yeah. In regards to being wrong about stuff and like playing through the whole game to make sure you're not wrong about stuff, it's funny. Because unlike Nate, I play very fast and loose with facts. And when people point out something wrong, I like if it's something I agree is wrong, I just kind of like upvote their comment and comment on it, and I'm like, oh yeah, good point, you know. And if it's something that like, because I'm very obstinate about the idea that like it doesn't matter to have everything right as long as you get the point. You know, as long as the overall video's not wrong, then that's what matters.
This is something I've disagreed with you for a long time about, Digi. Don't you feel a sense of journalistic integrity to need to
Nate,
represent
here's
things
the thing.
correctly?
There is a phrase in the journalistic world called, you don't get the facts, you get the truth.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how many journalists follow along with that, but if I may speak on behalf of Digi's research process, that seems to be something that he does.
Yeah. Can you break that down for me?
When you tell stories of things that happen, you usually tell a fairly condensed version where things are a little bit flanderized.
Well, the reason they say that is because you can't really know, like, all the facts about everything. Like, there's always going to be some detail that maybe, like, if you're trying to talk about, say, you know, what the messages is of Gurren Lagann, for instance, like, unless the creator outright says, like, that's what I intended, then it's not so much that you're saying, like, a fact about it as you're you know, talking about what it makes you think and what you think it's about.
It's not so much whether or not you're able to present this overwhelming symphony of evidence that makes you look infallible. It's more important that no one in the comments is able to create this symphony rebuttal that makes you look
I think
that's fine and all.
The thing is, like, if you're basing your opinion on something that you say and it's actually incorrect, then people will call you on that. But, like, if your point is this show's good because of the action, but you said the name of a character
This show is
wrong.
good because of climate change.
But
because
but if you say the name of a
reports.
character wrong, that's not devaluing your point. Your point is still correct.
Yeah, like the point of that video was obviously my interpretation of things, but if I had said Nia was 14 or Ryoko was 14 and I was just wrong, then that's a whole different
but
that's
the
a
thing
different
is
thing.
that, like, the reason you were talking about her, like, whether or not she's literally 14 didn't matter. The point is that she's Simon's age, that she's around that age,
Well,
that she's, you know, in that she's, you know, relatively 14 is, like, what matters. Not that she's
just,
literally
the argument that follows is based on that fact being true. I say she's closer to Simone's age, or I say that she is Simone's age because it's thematically relevant, because it's about her not being like Kamina. She's closer to Simone. She's, like, more mature. She's a tantalizing thing. And, you know, that would still be true if she was, like, 16 or, you know, even 18, I guess.
Right.
But, like, the things are predicated on getting your facts right. And if you get your facts wrong and then you have faulty interpretations, then you're just misleading people. And I'm not saying that you're evil. I'm just saying it's your responsibility.
Right.
Yeah, but
and I mean,
some faulty
You are
interpretations are worse than others.
I have definitely had, like, frequently, I have just, like, outright incorrect facts in my video. And people will point it out. But, like, usually, I mean, it never creates an uproar. Like, it's never destroyed a video. At worst, one guy gets mad and leaves a comment about it. And I laugh at him for being a comment.
You know what? This is actually a large motivating factor for why I'm interested in making videos in a series as opposed to one standalone obelisk. Because if I get something wrong in the first one, like YMS did in his review of Synecdoche, New York, I think, then, like, in the next video you could say, oh, by the way, maybe, guys, I saw that you commenting about this, I got this a little wrong, or I just want to clarify this point. Something like that is a very useful tool.
I did that in the SAO2 video.
Yes, you did.
Where I had made this pretty glaring mistake in the original, and I corrected it in the sequel. But I also made the defense in that video that, like, you know, I got this wrong, and I shouldn't have got it wrong, but the point I was making stands. Like, it didn't matter that I was wrong about that in the grand scheme of what I was trying to say about Kirito.
I just think it is such a valuable thing to be able to say that to be able to show, like, I have seen your argument on this particular point and created, you know, a rebuttal to it or an opinion, and doing, like, a multi-part series like that is the perfect way to handle it.
I really wish it was easier to, like, on YouTube, to keep,
like, edit or something.
Things. Yeah. Like, you can always do a follow-up video, but it's always going to have way less attention given to it. And, like, I mean, it's nice to be able. I used to kind of, like, obsessively want this, but now I've just kind of given up because I've gotten to that audience size where it's unmanageable. Where, like, if I make a video that blows up and I make a small mistake in it, and then I were to make a follow-up video where I correct that small mistake, it's cool that I've recognized it and that it's out there and I have my conscience is clean, but the number of people who are actually going to go find that video is so much less than the number of people who are just going to keep commenting on the original about how I fucked up, you know?
It's like a newspaper retraction, like, buried in, like, the depth of whatever that says, oh, by the way, that guy wasn't the murderer, it was the other guy. Sorry about that. Please don't kill that guy.
To this day, new comments on my first SAO video come out that criticize that mistake, you know, like, of course nobody reads the comments, so there's probably, like, several hundred comments about that specific mistake on that video, even though I corrected it 2 years ago, you know. There's no victory with that, and so I've kind of given up. Like, I like to be able to address mistakes, but it's like, you know, if you care that much, read the fucking comments, because
Yeah, there's something to that argument, I think.
In that specific situation, those are probably just butthurt people who love SAO. So even if you did have a follow-up, they wouldn't give two shits anyway. So
yeah, being butthurt doesn't make your argument invalid, but whatever. This all right. We've addressed this. I'm sorry, Gib. We interrupted you in a big way.
Again.
Yeah, I guess we're still talking about my stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
actually,
I guess we could talk about...
I have a question that could springboard you into something you can talk about that we can't interrupt you on, because I don't know the reason. I think you've probably addressed this somewhere before, but where did the idea for the green screen just sitting around on shit come from? Because that is the fucking coolest idea.
Oh, hang on, you cut out for me.
I think he said the green screen effects for a
like,
JRPG
where did you get
and
the idea
shit.
just I'm just gonna throw this on the ground in a pile. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
And
well, I just thought. I mean, I wanted to have the whole thing with JRPG. It was supposed to be the least amount of editing, even though it's still quite intensive because I got to cut out all the stuff that I like, the pauses and stuff. But I wanted it to be as least editing possible. So I thought I'll just film myself doing the whole thing there. But I thought that would be too boring, so I thought I'll put a thing in the corner with the game footage. But I also thought I don't want to have to edit the game footage to be that relevant, and I didn't really care. So I thought I'll put a green screen up, but I couldn't find a way to put the green screen up well, so I just threw it in the background. And from then on, it became a meme. I'm just I'm gonna put things.
The creative ways you've been using green screen since then, in other videos, is great.
Yeah,
like the way that you use the green sleeves.
I would say it started before that, because on the Give and Take channel, then there's been a long history of these weird green screen meme videos. But originally they weren't with an actual green screen. He would just remove all the green from the actual footage. It'd be like him in the grass outside, and then remove all the green from the grass and put another clip down there,
Yeah.
Because even your Rayman video, when you're oh, I'm gonna be Rayman, so I just wear green sleeves and key out my arms while I kept floating hands. It was fucking great.
That was great. And not even just green screens, but your Jump Cut Jack video is fucking great.
Yeah.
Just, it's does to green screens.
I actually had a moment where I watched Jump Cut Jack back the other day and realized that you created a sentence through all those jump cuts, which means that every position you got into, you had to say a tiny fragment of a word, right?
Well, what I did is I said the whole
time?
Sentence and then moved a bit, said the whole sentence, and then I spliced it all together.
Oh, perfect.
Still genius. I hadn't even thought about the technique.
Hey guys, Jump Cut Jack here with another fucking video. Oh, it's genius.
But yeah, speaking of live action, we could talk about the process for that, because that is quite a lot of extra bullshit that I feel like I'm obliged to do, but I also enjoy doing it because I can pull funny faces, and that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of hassle having a camera and lighting and
no one understands how much fucking harder it is to do live action than it is to do footage. And it seems, okay, if it's a vlog, that's the easiest thing in the world, right? Turn on some shitty lights and point a fucking phone at yourself and record. But if you're trying to make something look good, then it's not just a matter of lighting yourself. You have to basically become a director, because the lighting also has to reflect the tone of what you're doing. This is the big fucking problem I have with JonTron, with his modern videos, is that he has the high budget set, the high budget lighting, the high budget cameras. It's all pristine and clean and beautiful, but the way that it's lit is not fun. He's making fun videos with this dour, cold lighting set that does not look like a place somebody lives, and it's fucking weird. And that really detracts from the comedy, because it just feels what the fuck, why are you on a set? Why aren't you in your house playing video games? That's what the narrative is suggesting of the video,
Yeah, it's a weird, it's not quite awkward enough to be awkward funny, and it's not quite funny enough, it's not quite lighthearted enough to be a video game romp.
It's total garbage.
It's weird.
It's total garbage.
And then you watch Hypocrites videos, and it's usually just natural lighting. It seems you just open a curtain, but it looks like you're in your room.
Oh yeah, I am, because I can't really film anywhere else. But yeah, the natural lighting, I always try to do that because I don't have a big old bunch of lights with stands and stuff. So I usually try to film during the day when I have the window open and stuff. getting the light in. But for this Rayman video, I had a genius idea that nobody would have picked up on, obviously, because I didn't show it. But you see my TV, the big TV on the thing. You might see in certain shots, in certain videos or whatever. And all I did was I got a 1920 by 1080 picture of just white, just FFFFF white. Put it on a USB, plugged that into the TV, and then just had that be on the TV, just a big white TV thing, and that lit me from the front as I recorded.
Cool.
Great idea.
Hey, good thinking.
I've done stuff like that with, like when I'm recording a vlog, I might turn up the brightness on my monitor all the way and just have that be, like, lighting for me. Because my house, like, my room especially, like, even though my room has 3 windows, getting fucking, like, natural lighting is really hard because just the way the windows are angled, and my room's huge. And I usually film at night, and, like, lighting this fucking room is impossible. It just swallows light. Like, we would do all this stuff, and if you watch my older videos where I had, like, you know, vlogs or had myself on camera in certain videos, if you want to see the worst, look at the Lucky Star video. That's what happened when I tried to light myself, because when Victor's around, you know, he does this professionally, and he'll take 3 lights, and he'll fucking set them up, and he can make something presentable. But, like, when it's me by myself trying to light myself, I can't see where the lights are pointing on me. I can't see where I'm casting shadows. I can't see where, you know, if the camera is pointing at me correctly. I can't fucking adjust focus on a DSLR on myself because I have to lean forward to adjust the focus and then
I'm
lean
doing
back.
all that right now on RoboPixels.
Yeah, it's a huge pain in the ass. And it sucks ass because it's always gonna look shit. It's like you can never make it look great. It's just gonna look like acceptable enough that you can publish it, but you can't make it look great that way. Yeah. And if you see that fucking Lucky Star video, it's like every single shot, the lighting is different and terrible. It's all every single one is lit in a different bad way. Sometimes I'm too blown out. Sometimes the shadows are too harsh. Sometimes I'm casting shadows on my face. The framing isn't quite right. I just had the camera just out of reach. And that was with Shade helping me. Like, I had someone helping, but Shade doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, you know? So, like, if you don't have a crew to help you film live action segments, then just don't. And that's why I don't, you know, unless it's, like, something really brief or simple or easy. And thankfully, my new phone, like, can capture just enough light that, like, I did a little live action segment in my, you know, high school anime video where that was just filmed on my phone with just the lighting of my room, and it looks fine because that phone could capture enough. But even in that shot, the framing is slightly off because I had to use the outward facing camera, which I can't look at. I can't see what it's filming. So I just kind of pointed it as best I could to look at me, but, you know, my chin's a little too low, my head's not quite at the top of the frame, and I'm a fucking stickler for that stuff. So
you know that fucking CWC lecture Ben did with you know, Victor cameraing and doing all the light. It looks great. It looks wonderful. You know.
That was a
Shout out to
I mean, you
Vic.
can see in if you watch the 360 version of that, you can see there's a whole fucking light setup. Like, there's like 3 or 4 lights, like professional lights, and Victor is sitting up on a stool with this huge tripod and this giant fucking camera rig, you know, like it was shot professionally.
God, you got to have a lot of patience to be a cameraman. You just fucking sit there and watch them.
That's why I can't get him to do it. Like, nobody wants to watch you talk about anime for 10 minutes in your room. You know? So,
speaking of cameras,
stacks. Yeah, go on,
I film all my stuff on a camcorder, and it's mostly because I can turn the screen around and flip, so I can adjust myself, see how I look.
That's
and
essential.
I know, Nate, you have a problem with this because you use a DSLR.
Let me just tell you, the fucking I can't remember the word. Again, I used my shitty DSLR. Doesn't have a flip around. You should have seen the fucking process I went through. Like, an hour of that time was just focusing, getting back, filming a little bit, running back, watching it, seeing if it was focused, adjusting, doing it, repeat that process for a fucking hour,
Nate,
but I got it eventually.
What camera do you have?
I'll tell you afterward. I don't know, a piece of shit that I don't
probably
like.
It's like a Rebel T2i, right?
I have
a
T2i right now, and I have found a way to solve this problem very simply.
Really?
It'll cost you $6, and you can fix this problem.
Let us stand up, talk shop after this.
It's fucking great.
Okay, sorry, Gib. Go on.
Wait, was it a stand-up mirror? Is that the $6 solution?
I mean, that's one you could do too, but I have another. I'll talk about when I talk about my video stuff. So
okay, cool. Yeah, great.
But yeah, you can tell my camcorder quality camera is not that great and I could be using my dad's DSLR because he doesn't use it that much. But, you know, I always choose practicality for shooting over the quality, because when I record, my camcorder is really terrible for low light, so when I usually try to record, it's during the day, and I only have a few hours, especially in winter when the days are shorter, and I wake up late, and I'm like, okay, I gotta do all this, I gotta set up my mic just out of shot so that it can pick up my audio, because my camera audio is terrible. I have to have that there. And I have to do the performances. I have to do them over and over again to get them right. And I'm not ever entirely sure how good they are until I'm done. Yeah. Oh, and my computer fan is really loud. You might be able to hear it in my audio right now. But every time I record something, either for just voiceover or my live action, I have to turn my computer off, get my laptop out, and put it on the other side of the room, and then plug in the things from there so that there's no noise.
God.
And it's just it's like. 20-30 minutes of setting up just to do like 5 or 6 small takes and then move the camera, do a few more. And it's a bitch.
I think your live action segments come out great because, and that's what I want to emphasize to the audience here is like, yeah, Gibbon's using a shittier camera, but you're using like the optimal circumstances for it, and that takes patience and time. It's like you can only film during these hours of the day, during this certain time, and also you can't. You know, you couldn't film like multiple takes of the same. Like, let's say you filmed like you saying half a sentence, and then an hour later said the other half. The sun's in a different place. It looks totally different. You know, like you can't fuck around too much with this stuff. And like, yeah. So the reason Hippo is able to have stuff that still looks good in spite of the equipment is that patience that I don't have, because for me everything has to be like instantaneous. I need this video done. It has to be on my desk by Tuesday. I have to just film it in the shit conditions I have, you know.
For all the videos that I film in my my cabin garage thing at the end of the garden where you can see the drum set and all that, that's all like I have to stay down there for 2-3 hours because like the Harry Potter one, I do a lot of skits, the Jack and Daxter, all those things. I do a lot of skits as well as doing a lot of like talking to the camera, which I don't do anymore. I tried not to do any live action where I'm just speaking because there's no point. It has to be either a skit or like a cutaway gag to a visual of me doing a funny face. Anything else is too like there's no reason for me to record that because it's just extra work.
Right.
And the hardest thing is not just getting it all done, but like trying to get it all done at once, because I can't really do it the next day, and if I do, it's sort of weird. So I've got to do everything in one go, and it's hard to keep your voice going and to keep energized, and I'm like, by the end of it. Oh god,
like trying to match a later voiceover with one you did
earlier,
it's
impossible.
Fucking impossible.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah, that goes for voiceovers too. I try to do them all in one go, and sometimes my voice is noticeably like haggard by the end of it, and you might be able to tell in some videos where I'm like, but I kept that in anyway because I can't be bothered to do it
because
again.
you're a goddamn professional.
How many takes do you usually like? Do you have to do multiple takes on most lines, or would you say it's like only occasionally, or like do you usually get through the whole thing in one sitting?
Well, I usually get through the whole thing in one sitting, but the sittings are very long and they're
How much
taxing.
longer is the recording than what the video is?
Let me think. I mean, I do multiple takes for every line, at least one other take, just in case the first one was bad.
Ooh,
Sometimes I don't do multiple takes, and the take I thought was alright doesn't actually sound good, and I'm like, I hate me. But...
I mean, I know Jesse records like hours for each of his.
Yeah, it's. I mean, for that Rayman thing, I'm trying to think. I mean, the session was like 2.5 hours, but that was for part 2 as well.
Right.
So it's a lot of extra time. Like, it's a 10-minute video. It was probably like 45 minutes to an hour of doing the recording.
Jeez. Nate, how about you?
I definitely don't do every line. Like, I feel like I have a pretty good sense for if I fucked up a line. And, like, if I'm just going through, I try to do the whole thing in just one take and don't really worry if I got it right. Yeah. If I did it wrong, I'll just repeat the line and then just splice it in later. Yeah. And then, like, I'm more inclined to try to get the thing done reasonably good. And then if there's a problem after I put it in Vegas and I'm editing, then I'll just do it over.
Yeah.
Usually what I do is if I think the first half of a paragraph I say is okay, and I find, I mess up the second half, I think of the area where I could splice in a second take of the second half of
Yeah,
it, and then I
yeah.
just say that part again instead of the
I do
whole
that
thing.
too. I do that too.
I mean, I definitely don't think my method could work for Hippo, because your comedy is so much about line delivery, and it's like there's so many moments in that Rayman video where it's just the way you say a word makes me fucking laugh. What's the eggplant, but the other word for it?
Aubergine?
Aubergine.
What the
Like,
fuck is an
aubergine?
aubergine? Is that an eggplant?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
what the fuck? Why
Just the
did
way
you say
he's-
eggplant?
The way the second
Because
time...
I'm not an American, you crazy boy.
And also,
What the
aubergine sounds way funnier when you're implying.
It also sounds French, so
That's just like the British word or like the European word for it or something?
it's just the word that non-Americans say, I think.
Man.
But,
All right.
like, for me,
You're an inferior race.
my recordings are usually at most like 2 to 5 minutes longer than the actual video. Like, it's
Oh, yeah,
just
yeah.
if I stumble over a line, I redo it, but it's immediate. It's just like, this time this time I was, and then there are some lines that'll stop me up for a good 30 seconds or something. There's some little tongue twisters in my scripts, but it's all one go.
Yeah.
And recently, when I did, because there's 5 videos I have coming out in November, all of them being edited by Devu. I've written them all before November started.
Wait, 5
And-
are coming out in November? It's already
Yeah.
halfway through, dog.
Yeah,
All right.
there's already 2 out.
Oh, I thought you meant they were all coming out.
No,
Okay,
5 total. And I had written them all before November, and like I had them all sitting there, and I just literally went into my closet for 2.5 hours and recorded all 5 of them in one session. So if you listen to these 5 videos back to back, you'll notice my voice sounds the same in all of them, which is not normal. Usually I sound kind of different in each video. This one is just like I fucking just belted them out one after another, and by the end I was dead.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure.
really wish I could do that.
Yeah.
Uh,
But I don't think it would work for you, because it's
Yeah.
the comedy would not come through, unless you
I
had
love
really
doing
planned
the
it.
yeah. I love doing the script recording. I just wish that I produced scripts faster that I could record and then do shit with.
yeah.
It's
the
always
writing
got
of-
it's
the
always
writing of
feels
this-
so good. Getting a script done is hell, and I feel great when I put the video, when I record it, put it into Vegas, and I start to edit. I'm like, yes, this is what I was born to do, being the editing process. And then of course a month later, when I'm only halfway through editing the thing, I wish I was dead. But
Yeah, the way I do the editing, usually, like I said, I don't do the music first. I do the music last. But what I do is I get my audio, put it in obviously, and I put that blue background on, and I cut every section where there's a live action bit, and space them out really far, and then I just go through it. First, I put like the game footage, and then I leave like editing bits with images and stuff for later. So I've got all the game footage, and then that's like the skeleton of everything, the skeleton of the review.
yeah,
That's the timings that it's going to be. Not always, though, because
I can see
when
why you like making videos if it involves skeletons.
Yes.
Hey,
backbone.
rattle.
But yeah, it's footage first, and then live action. And once everything is in place where it's like I can reasonably say this video is going to be a certain number of minutes long, then I will start properly going over it. I don't usually do that. I've tried to start doing that. Like usually I would just go and do the finished thing in order. But now I'm trying to do like a first draft of the thing. So I go through it and I finish it, and then I know it's not done, so I go over it again and all that.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah,
don't do
this
that.
highlights, I think, a difference in the way I've seen Hippo and Nate's editing based on screenshots of their Vegas timelines. Is you guys, I believe, just put in the full recording of your narration and then edit the audio as you go?
True.
Is that true? Yeah.
No, I edit the thing in Audacity, and then if I need to add pauses or cut things out, then I will edit it in Vegas
I just remember
afterwards.
seeing a screenshot of one of your timelines, and the audio track had tons of cuts constantly. Was that just you adjusting for timing?
Are you sure that was me? You might
I
have-
I'm
definitely
pretty
do
sure
that.
I saw one of you, but maybe not. Maybe I
Well,
saw Nate and thought it was you for one time.
I mean, I know that I do eventually cut the audio a lot, but like I just to move it around a bit. Like if I feel like this joke needs like half a second of quiet after it, I will
Yeah.
cut it there, and maybe it looks like a lot. I don't know.
The
I
way,
don't remember ever posting my Vegas timeline.
the way I do audio is like I record it in Audacity, then I remove all the gaps and all the mistakes, and then it's just this tightly grouped thing. Then I put it in Vegas, and I add gaps back into it. Then I, once it's all perfectly formulated, then I, render that and then put the full file in. And the reason is that I have a tendency, I want everything to be, as unbroken as possible, because it's so easy to fucking misplace things and move them around without realizing it. And then, then you've already made 100 more edits and saved, and you don't know what happened to that audio file that was accidentally grouped with some clip you deleted.
Oh,
and
did you?
Yeah.
I gotta say, you use Vegas still, right?
Yeah.
For things like that, you could open a new Vegas file and then drag the old Vegas file into the new one, and then it will just be a continuous thing, so you wouldn't have to render it at all.
What do you mean exactly? Oh,
like if you do the audio editing, adding the pauses in one Vegas file, and you drag that file into a new Vegas file, it will become a like a single chunk of audio or video.
In Premiere, that is known as subsequences, and in
or
more
nesting.
complicated projects, that is what I do as well.
Yeah.
I know Davu's way into subsequences and
I need to do that shit with Vegas, because, you know what I do instead, and this is retarded, this is why I need to use Premiere, it's not working with my fucking drivers, I need to re-steal it from the internet. Instead of that, I'll take the keyframes on, 2 different tracks, and I will just have them be the exact same keyframes between all the tracks, and then sometimes it's gonna be, 10 fucking things moving, and that need to, expand or, glide along a path. It's retarded. It's the worst idea. Okay, well, if there's 2 things on the screen and they need to move in the same way, what you should do is have them be part of the same subsequence and then animate that subsequence in a particular way. But what I've been doing instead for the longest time, just because Vegas doesn't make it easy to do it the other way, is I just will keyframe those 2 with the exact same keyframes.
So
they'll be moving together.
That you could make a subsequence to do that.
Well, Gibbs' dad discovered it one day.
I've recently
that usage of it. I never
learned I don't know why they're not called subsequences. Maybe it's something else. But nesting. If you right-click a bunch of video in Premiere, and you right-click and there's a menu and you click nest, it flattens it all down into another sequence.
What?
That you can.
Holy shit!
You just highlight it, right-click nest, and it becomes its own video file that includes. If you double-click on that, it goes to all the files that you just squashed. And then you can move that.
So
it's probably the same thing, but
oh my god!
And then you can move that as its own thing.
What Hippo just described is exactly like what subsequences already are. So yeah, you have unlimited options.
I know. I use Premiere and I use subsequences. I just didn't know that existed in Vegas. But this is.
Oh no, I'm talking about Premiere.
Okay.
Oh well, fuck it. Never mind.
Yeah, no, everything for me, I don't do anything fancy in the events that I do edit, but the reason that subsequence thing with the audio wouldn't help me is that I send all my completed audio files to Davu and he edits around it. So, yeah, and he usually doesn't do anything to the audio. It's just purely the unbroken track, unless I have to request something with the Kuroko no Basket video where we later added in chapter headers and just had to split all those up. But I'm so fucking particular about audio, and I'm teaching myself to care less about audio, but at the same time, it keeps getting more complicated. Because, I've got all this fucking great audio equipment, and I surround myself with it, and I criticize people on their audio, and I'm I really want it to be perfect, because I listen to everything through speakers, through, a pretty good set of speakers. And I can tell massively the difference between audio quality of different things. But people who are on shitty speakers can't. And, Ben had no idea that his audio was worse than everyone else's on the PCP. He legitimately did not know that. Yeah, he had no idea.
Oh, God.
So all this time...
I failed as a father.
He sounded like a tin can because he just listens to it through his laptop speakers, or the headphones he uses, which are, fucking stock, iPod headphones. So... he's listening to it in garbage quality audio, so everyone sounds just as shitty. But that's how like most people do. Like most people don't have a nice set of studio monitors or a fucking $150 pair of headphones. Most people are either listening to it like on their cell phone or their laptop. And so like that's why so many people can get away with having such shitty audio. Why like, Jim Quisition doesn't feel the need to update his fucking audio quality, or Movie Bob or something, cuz it's never been a problem for enough people. And like I've kind of learned to accept that, but then fucking goddamn, like, because it used to be that I wouldn't do vlogs because I had to set up my fucking microphone. It's like such a pain in the ass to have the microphone off screen, but like you don't want it to be intrusive in the video, but then it's also just a pain to set it up and all that. It's like I just want to be able to touch and go. So I had my Galaxy Note 3, and that thing, I was using the inward-facing camera, which looks like dog shit, but the fucking microphone was on the inside, so it sounded decent, and it has pretty good like it kind of auto compresses the audio, so it actually sounds pretty good comparatively. So I used that for all these vlogs and stuff, and then I upgraded to the first I had the Note 7, had to replace that. Now I got the S7 Edge. This thing has a much better front-facing camera, but the fucking microphone is on the outside, and it records in stereo, and you can never, whether you're recording inside or outside, you can never have the audio levels of the left and right channel be equal. So the left channel will be super loud, and the right channel will be super quiet. So what I've been having to do is then, like, I put the whole file into Vegas, and then
I'll split it into left and right, and then
because you can't do that in Vegas, so I have to fucking render it as a WAV, put it in Audacity, split the left and right track, make the left track mono, put that render that, put that into Vegas. This doesn't take long. It's just a pain in the ass.
Are you sure there isn't a setting to record the audio in just mono?
Yeah,
on
there's
your
nothing
phone?
like that on the phone. I mean, that's not normal. Like, mono recording is mostly for high-end devices. It's not normal for stuff to even offer that, so which is fucking sucks. And it's just that,
bizarre.
Yeah, well, it's funny too, because I always thought on the old phone, I thought it was weird that the microphone was on the front-facing camera, because it seemed obvious that you're mostly going to be filming other stuff, not yourself, because most people aren't vloggers,
is the selfie age, my friend. You're going to be filming yourself 100% of the time.
Yeah, so now it's just weird that they put it on the other side instead. But like, it sucks for me because that audio will sound like dog shit when I mix it that way. Like it's even worse than it would have been. So now I'm like, well, I guess I got to fucking hook up the microphone every time I want to do a vlog again, which thankfully I have a much longer XLR cable than I used to, so that's not as much of a pain. But yeah, that's like it's just such a nightmare to do anything. Why is everything so hard?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. So where were we?
I think
we were
Hippo was
talking
about wrapped up.
I was gonna talk about because we know the process, we have our, like, what we do, but there's always that moment where we're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm stuck. I don't know what, I don't feel like I know what I'm doing right now. And I try to alleviate that by writing in the script ahead of time how I should edit some parts, or how I should record some live action bits, like extensive notes, like, so that there's no way that I could interpret it improperly, like 2 weeks later when I'm actually doing stuff. But there's always that moment where you're like, there's usually a process that you have to come up with to get out of that, or to just keep going. And for me, I don't really have one yet. Some people, they can find out ways to, like, to just do stuff when they don't know what they're doing.
The most dangerous thing you can do in a moment like that is, like, start a new video that you're interested in, and then you got two, and like, oh no, it's just
I never
endless...
start another video. Well, actually, I do sometimes make like that hair thing, that Voldemort-y video.
Yeah.
I made that because I just had an idea.
You've ever made. It's a sensation.
It's got 11,000 views somehow.
Holy shit! Yes.
But I just thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I could turn my head and my head's there while I was editing Rayman? So I just put Rayman on hold. Yeah. I filmed it in 5 minutes. I put it up, and I'm like, okay, now back to editing. I'm like, wait a minute. No, I should do something else. I should look at all the comments and every single thing I've ever made.
No.
And you go down that rabbit hole. But
why would you ever do that? I'm glad I have too many videos for that to even be slightly viable. Like, I have.
Oh yeah, every time I go to my notifications, there's like, oh, there's a brand new comment on Give and Take. I better look at it.
Yeah,
And
we're
it's
not
just
over that hill yet. We will one day, but right now,
I've
you know.
2 years gone on a notification bill, but
Yeah.
But yeah, I really wish it was not. It was easy to just keep editing, because sometimes you get on a roll and it's great, but a lot of the time I'm not on a roll. I'm just sort of like forcing myself to get to a certain point before the end of the day. Like I've been writing on a pad of paper in front of me. Every time I get to today, I was like, okay, get to the 2-minute mark of the Rayman Part 2, and I'm almost there. But there's things came up. But every day I would like, okay, I did that, cross it off. Now get to the 5-minute mark, and I would just. Yeah. That's kind of helpful, but sometimes I just don't do it.
With that whole like getting stuck at parts, like that's the period where I'll just get up and go do something. Like I'll go have a smoke or fucking just do anything and to help me like jog my brain and think of something that'll go there.
What I usually do at the moment is I've been going on Pokemon Go walks with my brother, and it's been nice because it's autumn and the leaves are falling and it's really beautiful.
Pokemon Go to the polls?
Well, I can't because I'm English.
Please,
I'm English. I voted for Trump in spirit.
Way too late. What are you talking about?
No.
Hippo, are you about wrapped up with yours? You've been going for like 50 minutes now.
Yeah.
Hey, can I quickly
whatever.
just bring up I want to just say a problem I have. To selfishly bring up a problem that's different from that I have is that I constantly, running up to, it's the end of the night, I now need to stop my productive work and go to sleep so I can get up for my wage slave job. What I'm trying to say is, people, help me! Help me! Go to patreon.com/bestguyever. Save me from this fucking life! I just want to make my videos and I know you want them too, so help me. That's my biggest problem in the world right now. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Tom, let's hear your writing and editing process.
If you can do Devu first, I'm like, and speaking of wage slave jobs, I had to start a round of my job, so all my audio is just going to echo like fuck.
Okay.
In an old abandoned building. So I'll go after Devu if he's still even here.
Yeah, Devu, let's have you go for it.
Okay, well, in order to make a good video, you got to be at your computer. In order to be at your computer, you got to sit down or stand up or have some sort of pose, right? Now, it used to be I had, like, an office chair that was, like, really old. Like, it was an old office chair from, like, the early 90s, and it just got so much, it turned it into such a concave that my back was just hell sitting in it. So I had this other, more low-end office chair that was okay, but as the years went on, it just made my back ache so much. And
Devu, what a fascinating thing it is that you would interpret this question to be addressing your seating situation in terms of how you make videos. I'm sorry, but please, go on.
Yeah, so, eventually I basically just gave up on chairs altogether. There's really no chair that's not going to make my back hurt eventually, unless it's a $600 one like what Digi has, but I haven't even tried that one out extensively, So, like, in my room, where I am right now, where I edit all of my, like, Saturn videos or anything that's, like, easy, I just don't have a chair. I just sit on the floor. My computer is mounted on my computer. Like, how do I say this? My monitor is on my computer tower with a couple of books stacked up to get it just at the right height relative to my head.
Where's your keyboard, though?
Well, the keyboard's either on the floor or on my lap, and I have a little box where I put the mouse on.
Okay.
And right now, I have said box, then with more boxes, and then my microphone stand, which my microphone is on, in front of my face right now. So I use boxes. I don't use chairs or tables. I have one token table in this room that I put some things on, but everything else is on the floor.
A token table in a room, like, geez, okay, yeah, all right. He had to have a table in the room. We all know that's fucking unnecessary.
Right. Watching all of this anime, the weebness has been slowly creeping up into my mind, and I've found myself just sitting on the floor.
Yeah, like a fucking animal.
In the other room, in the, like, living room area where the advanced computer is, which is good for editing and has high power and such, I messed around with different seating positions. But then eventually, I scooted up this one, like, piece of a couch that
How deep are we going down this rabbit hole?
that belongs to Digi's family. Like, Digi's family has this awesome couch that has, like, 17 million parts to it. All of them are excruciatingly comfortable.
Right.
If you go to the PCP 360 podcast were sitting on all of that. Like Jesse and Nate and Hippo, I believe,
Come in.
wait, what?
Sorry, Ben's
Whatever.
coming into my room.
Fascinating. They all slept on those couches like for a week, and it only started to get uncomfortable for them eventually. So, and I myself will sleep on that if I want to, like, if I am in the heat of editing a thing and don't want to feel like I can take a break and go to my room, I'll just sleep on that couch because it's close to my computer, to my advanced computer. And there's one little wedge of that couch that was like in a totally different section of the room that was close to where my computer ended up being. And so I slided that little wedge over, and I sat on that. And you would think that a couch piece would be not good for editing video. But the fortitude of this material was such that I could just like sit like on the edge of it like a stool, and it would always be pushing me forward in just such a way that it gives me like the perfect like back position without having to like force it.
Devu, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I mean, we've got to also cover like the floor situation, like the table situation. I mean, can we spend all this time on chairs? There's a lot of furniture we need to address before you're done.
Let's chair.
Yes.
Well, I understand that. I mean, it is important to be comfortable. It helps the process because, for me, I mean, there's a reason I've bought all this expensive fucking furniture. Like, I sit in a $500 chair. I have a nice like mattress because when you have to edit for 8 hours in a day and your fucking back starts hurting, it just makes the whole process worse. So yeah, comfort is important.
Right. Now, I mean, I'm getting sort of the sense that this whole chair discussion is not like what you guys were expecting, and I did have more to say about the wedge, but if you want me to move on, that's perfectly fine.
I'm sorry, Devo.
I mean,
we'll come back to that another
deal.
time.
You know, I mean, it doesn't matter that this wedge has improved my life exponentially. Like, let's move on to like more relevant things, of course. So, okay,
I don't know why you guys
different
are laughing.
things about the creation of videos I could talk about, you know. To chime in on the whole audio recording thing, I have always hated doing the audio recording. I mean, I love the idea of doing it, but it never comes out right. I always get very frustrated. Any amount of frustration I have will ruin my line delivery. If I get too anxious and I get short of breath, and it ruins it, which just creates a downward snowball spiral in which it gets worse and worse, in which I have to attain a zen-like mental state to recover from it. And if I do an attempt of a recording too many times, it's going to be ruined forever. I'll never be able to deliver it naturally. So I have a limited number of attempts available to me. I do not know how people like Jesse are able to do so many attempts and eventually come out with something perfect every time like
He's
he always
able to
does.
channel his rage into these things, I think.
I guess so, yeah, because you know,
he said that like usually it's just he kind of goes. It's not that he goes until he gets the one he likes. It's that he just goes and goes and goes until he's sick of it, and then often he'll pick like one of the first two takes.
Yeah.
That
But you can
happens
it
as well.
only works with those two because you know you're about to do 100 more, so you're able to do it with such naturalistic motions.
And you know, it's interesting. For the last several videos I made that are like full-on scripts, it's pretty much always 3 attempts. It's like the first attempt is just to start programming the rhythm and delivery into my mind. Then I listen to it and hate it and throw it away. Then do another one, which is like too unnatural because I'm a little bit tensed up. Then I snap myself, I just go, and I break. And then in that broken state, with the broken brilliance, rather, if you might call it, I am able to do a third attempt, which is more acceptable. So...
Is that done for every line or like for the whole script?
No. I go through the whole thing.
Okay.
Once, twice, then the third time, you know.
Yeah, important thing to talk about that that me and Devu sort of discovered once I started getting him to edit is that one of the things I've been having Devu do is like edit these scripts that I wrote ages ago that like I just never got around to making the full video because either I thought it would be too much effort or I just, like, I didn't finish it because I knew it would be too much effort. So, for instance, like the Yakiyuki Shinbo in the 90s video, like, most of part 1 was written last November or so. And then, like, I kind of finished it up recently. And what I've found is that if I sit on a script for too long, I have no idea how to read it anymore.
Because you're a different person.
Yeah, it just
That's
comes
true.
off. Well, it's like, when I'm writing a script, I have a certain like rhythm that I'm reading it back to myself in. Like I know the rhythm of the post as it's going, and yeah, it's based on like whatever my writing voice is at the time, whatever whatever kind of thing I do then. And I don't know what that is anymore when it's like a year
that's
later.
kind of what makes me think that, Jesse said he's got a backlog of tons of scripts, but I don't think he's ever going to make any of them, just because he's no longer the man who wrote them and doesn't care anymore.
And I mean, a lot of them he rewrites, and like ends up doing a different video about the same subject. I mean, he's mentioned that he's written like 15 different Evangelion videos over time, like just keeps trying to do it, but never, feeling right about it. But yeah.
I was going to say that the way I write, it never really seems to go that way. Like if I write something months ago, or if I start writing it like loads of months, and then I finally get to the part where it's finished and I can record it, as long as I've written like a little notes on how I should inflect, if I'm going for a specific type of voice that I had in my head at the time, like. It's like Jontron from this particular video and this particular scene. Like I would write that as a note next to the part where I say that, so that I know, oh yeah, and then I can it's always, it never feels weird to come back to a script after a long time because of that.
For me, it'll be like this whole, like the whole cadence of the script doesn't make sense to me anymore sometimes. Like the worst example was this video that I was working on early last year that was supposed to be movement in the Legend of Zelda franchise, where I was going to do like a whole project where I played through every Zelda game and like analyze the way that the character moves and the way you do all your attacks and stuff. And I wrote part 1, which was like 20 minutes long, and it covers the first 4 games. And like even at the time, it was kind of a stilted and awkward script, like it was a little too stiff, but I had recorded it, I had delivered it or whatever, but then I redid it again like a year later. I went through and I rewrote parts of it because I wasn't satisfied with the overall writing. But then when I tried to voice this new version, it just felt like this fucking Frankenstein monster of a script, and like I came off as this weird, like I was doing almost the Digibrony voice of like way too high pitched and like a salesman kind of thing, because I don't really know what I'm reading. I feel like I'm reading somebody else's lines that were written for me as opposed to a script I wrote for myself. And you can see this too in the Shinbo video, and like you probably
hey, hold on. We got to go on the record that the Shinbo video was where you learned to defeat this, at least for temporarily. You have a number of videos that you wrote, then you read them like a year later, and you sent them to me.
Right.
And often we just redid the audio for them. Like you did another take to try and get more natural. And the voice you were often doing was like, Guts from Berserk is an interesting anime protagonist. And it was like kind of awkward. But the Shinbo one is where you created a new persona to match this confused state. Where like it's this weird like dub character voice. Like, Akiyuki Shinbo in the 90s, he has got his own...
Not intentionally, I assure you. Well, like
it was unintentional, but it was like, it felt more right and natural.
I mean, sure,
you
can defend it as not being a terrible read, but like nonetheless, it has this issue, whether it's like a problem or not, that there's a definitive moment, and you probably wouldn't be able to find it unless I told you like exactly where it was. I don't think it's so blatant, but like after I talk about Hurricane Palomar, the stuff after that is what I'd written later. Like, and there's like, if you listen to the early part of the script, it's like I start off every every sentence really high, like Akiyuki Shinbo and then he went to this studio, and
I know exactly what you're talking about, Digi. For some reason, I always end up going into a sentence really loud the first time, and I don't know why.
And then, like, if you listen to later in the video, it suddenly feels way more smooth and natural. Like, the last 5 or 6 minutes are, like, totally different, and that's because those have been written more recently. So, yeah, I really try now to, like, if I write a script, let's try to get it voiced before too long. I mean, it really takes a long time for it to be that awkward. Like, these are both scripts that were a full year, between writing and reading, so I'm, like, a totally different writer at that point. But,
Well, aside from the whole reading and interpreting aside from the whole like voiceover aspect of it, I often get, because I'm working on projects for so long, and I know that you've gotten over this, Digi, by just working faster, to like, you get to a point where everything that you're saying in the video feels like, of course, like, obviously, all these things are true. Like, why am I even making this?
Like, I have not gotten past that. That's, actually, it's a big part of why I like handing things over to Devu, because usually it's the moment when I've listened to it back, like when I've edited the audio and then I listen to the audio back, that's the moment when that happens. That's the moment where it's like I've internalized it so much that I no longer understand if this is actually interesting or not. And like, I'll be pacing around my room listening. There's a lot of scripts of mine where I listen to it back and I'm just like, I don't even remember if this is good. And then I'll send it to Devu and he'll be like, this is the best thing I've ever heard. And I'm like, great, edit it. Because like,
the thing is, I always think the project is really complicated that involves me personally going over the script several times. Like, I almost always read the post before I hear the audio so that I can like get more of a sense of the feeling of the pacing of the script.
Sure.
But then I listen to it, and some videos are more complicated, like Aesthetic is Narrative. That's one where I listened to it a bajillion times over the course of making it, and I never had this moment of, maybe this isn't very good, because it's not my ego on the line. Right. I'm able to distance myself from the potential doubts.
That was definitely one of the videos
easily.
Where like every step of the way I was questioning it. Like, even, like up until people were commenting that they thought it was great, I was still like, I have no idea if this is even comprehensible. Like, the whole opening segment is so esoteric that I was just like, I don't know if anyone's going to get this, if anyone's going to know where I'm coming from. The video is way more successful than it had any right to be. Granted, I put, a popular anime as the thumbnail, but,
I remember thinking, like, on the day I released Gurren Lagann Part 2, like, everyone is going to fucking hate this. It's going to be so shit, and no one's going to give a shit. And yet that was not the case. All right, anyway, let's move on. Well, what else you got, Devu?
Let's see. I could talk about the specific editing of doing a specific thing, putting a specific item in a video. How about that? You want to hear that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's see. We'll use the example of like having an image that pans into the screen during a couple of seconds. So like, imagine I go, this game is almost as good as peanut butter jelly sandwiches. And I'll get a picture of a peanut butter jelly sandwich, preferably one with an alpha background, meaning there's no background, If I can't find one, I'll just open up GIMP and, isolate the color white, get rid of the white. No background. So I put the image into Premiere, and I then drop it from the library of Premiere onto the timeline. Now, at the bottom of the timeline, there's going to be footage of the video game. And I'm going to put the peanut butter jelly sandwich image above that. So that way, you see a peanut butter jelly sandwich image in front of you, and the video game footage is behind you. But I don't want the peanut butter jelly sandwich to just appear out of nowhere. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes you want the image to just snap it into the middle of the screen all at once. Sometimes you want a little bit more of a smooth delivery.
Let me guess. Do you click opacity?
Well, I could do that, but for this example, I go to the X value, which for people who don't know, the X value is your horizontal position.
We're going deep.
And so then
going deep.
I'll drag it leftwards so that the peanut butter jelly sandwich careens off of the screen, so it's no longer visible. Now, I then decide.
Big mistake. You're going to want to go off the right side. With a motion like this, I can tell you emotionally, with a peanut butter sandwich, it's always going to be from the right side.
Look, I will not question any specific details that you would want to iron out for certain. So take Nate's word on it for stuff like this. So I try to decide, like, how long, exactly at what point of my audio delivery do I want the peanut butter jelly sandwich to be involved, right? Like, do I want it to start scrolling in during the this game is almost as good as, or do I want it to start scrolling in at peanut butter jelly sandwich, right? So I'll arrange the image to be at exactly the point I want, and then
I do have a point about that, is the timing about, like, you've got to take into consideration how long it will take people to process the image that's on screen.
True.
Because when you're editing something, and you cut it to, like, okay, that's enough footage, and then you cut to the next thing, sometimes it's not enough time, and you have to make sure you watch it over, like, oh yeah, I can comprehend this, and then people will know what it is before I move on.
Now there
You know,
was
that's-
actually
that's
watching- I was-
a constructive.
I was watching one of my earlier videos, the miniclip one, and there are certain parts where I just cut way too quick, and it's obviously because I didn't rewatch it properly.
Now there
Like,
were
like what? I'm just curious about what you think you did that with.
Hmm?
Do you remember offhand anything that you thought was too fast?
There's a lot of parts in the miniclip video. I think it was,
all right, fair enough.
but it was just certain points where I was like, there's even one part where I cut off the beginning of the next sentence by like half a syllable, and it sounds a bit weird.
Oh, so you mean like audio-wise?
I-
well, that's interesting.
Audio
'cause
and visual.
I only
always,
ask because the current thing I'm editing right now, like basically 100% of it is exactly dealing with this issue of like I'm trying to convey these ideas with these visuals like as efficiently as possible while being able to like get the entire like section of information. Like this sounds confusing, but like when you see the video in like 2 weeks, it'll make perfect sense. But it's really it's a struggle to manage like how long and at what point you remove an image or put it there so that they can digest it and understand like what it means.
That's like when I edit with like images on screen, that's like what I spend by far the most time on, is like going
Yeah,
back
for
and
sure.
watching it over and over again and trying to figure out the timing, because the other problem is you already know the information, and this is what makes
that's
it,
the thing. That's the thing.
With text, that's the hardest, because you can read the text faster when you already know what it says. So like I always kind of like read it like relatively slow. Like I like read every word to myself, and then I go like half a second more than that, you know, to account for like people who are slower readers than me, and I'm not the fastest. So, you know,
Yeah.
I feel pretty confident about my text speeds, but I leave it for like just long enough that I'm confident you can read it. But even then, you know, a lot of people aren't fucking really paying attention at the you know, when the text comes, like they're not ready for text to start appearing, and then have to
Yeah.
read
Yeah.
and engage
There
with
wa-
the video.
There was one moment in my Rayman video where I did the pan-inchoate style thing with the music
I
and
remember that.
and I had the graph with Rayman, and I had text on there, but it didn't really tell you anything you didn't already know. But I can tell like it's a bit too quick for people to
I
not
couldn't quite.
want to
Yeah, I
pause
did
it.
read it. I didn't
part
read
of the
it.
joke.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing, and you know it's interesting. I've been watching a lot of like Mr. Donut the Donut, who does a lot of like JoJo AMVs, and I've been taking note of his technique where he animates a lot of JoJo manga panels, and he'll have a panel come in and he'll do things like just like have like there'll be a sentence in it, but what he'll do is on the same side, like on the opposite side of the screen from the panel, he'll like just have the words, like the crucial words, like he attacked, and they'll be like big and like ballooned out of the thing, despite like the sentence on the right side had a sentence that included those words, but he's like emphasizing them by showing them separately, and it's an interesting technique, and I've been taking inspiration from it.
So okay, you know the thing I was saying
Yeah.
before about timeline positioning. There was actually a useful point I was trying to make there. But then as I started making it, I realized that it's only something that people who have edited lots of videos before, or at least a couple, will understand. So I started like going into like exhaustive details so that you could follow along otherwise, but that I'm going to give up on that, all right? So forget about it. If you don't know video editing at all, you're not going to understand this. So, you know, when I started making videos and like wanted to have a peanut butter jelly sandwich on the screen, I would be like this constant back and forth of like trying to adjust things and move things around here and there to get the timing right, to get the positioning right, all that kind of stuff. And it just felt like I was going back and forth. So there's a very simple, layered method of positioning things and getting down those keyframes. So first, I decide how long it's going to be in the timeline, right? I decide when it's going to come into existence and when it's going to leave from existence. And then I decide when the keyframes will begin and end. Like, you know, this game is almost as good as I know that it's going to begin moving at the and then it's going to end at the peanut butter jelly That's going to be where it is done careening into the screen. So I make two keyframes at the p and the and then I decide how it's going to leave. So like sandwiches, that's when it's going to begin leaving, new keyframe. Then like a half second after the z ends, that's when it will be done leaving the screen. So I now have the 4 keyframe positions, and then that is when I decide where the thing is actually going to be positioned into, like where it's actually going to be coming from and where it's going to be going.
Oh, so you sort out the timing before you sort out the position.
Yeah, I mean,
That's interesting.
I guess I will
makes
probably
sense.
decide the default positioning. That way I don't have to adjust every keyframe afterward, you know? And this is not a strict method, but that's like hypothetically, that's a way to do it. I'm getting the truth, not the facts here. By the way, like that's how I'm the facts. That's what I'm doing here.
So, yeah. All that aside, I wanted to I want to ask about this because when I watch Devu edit, even though I'm pretty sure he's ultimately doing something similar to what I do, which is to pull a bunch of clips from a show and put them in a timeline, the actual way of going about it is like radically different, and it's fascinating because when I walk by and I see Devu editing, this is what it sounds like. This is the sounds coming out of his computer. It's a constant like. And then I said to him, and then I said, and then I, like, he has the audio coming out at all times, and he's, like, scrolling back through the timeline, and you can hear the audio being, like, fast-forwarded or rewinded.
Interesting. I just
so
pause and then I skip back.
Locate all the syllables, you know, peanut butter sandwiches, you know.
Yeah, and like, and then you also but you do the same thing when you're looking for clips. Like you scroll through the footage, like.
Well, I would like it if it
like
didn't
sped
happen
up or
then.
slowed down.
Yeah, well, what Digi's referring to is, you know, I'll drop like maybe a 20-minute episode of thing, and then I'll show like some scene from 3 minutes in, and I still have the other 17 minutes of the episode still sitting there on the timeline that I gotta deal with. So then maybe Digi's next sentence addresses something that happens 11 minutes in. So I gotta go find the 11-minute mark. So I'll scroll through and then hear, see you next one, and you know, something like that.
Wait, why?
I wish it didn't make audio then. I wish there were a feature where the stopped after like the first couple of like minutes or so. Yeah.
Well, wait, Devu.
Yeah.
You use a Premiere, right? Why don't you just double-click the footage and have it be in the preview window?
I do that sometimes too. I do
you...
a variety of all of them so that I never get tired of one or the other. You know, one thing I would love is if you could like punch in like a timeline code and you would skip to that position of the timeline of that specific item, which I know you can, but not very efficiently.
I use the preview box or whatever it's called because it has the whole thing in there from start to finish, and you just say 11 minutes in, you can easily see where that is.
I believe that's what I do most of the time, but I believe it even then will do the max headroom audio, even if you do it that way. So,
well, what's funny to me about it is that like the way I select clips is I'll throw the whole episode into Vegas, like somewhere way down the timeline, and then like if you grab the edge of a clip and drag it, then that cuts into it. And if you're looking at the preview window, you can see everything you're cutting into. So like if you grab the edge and let's say you move it 30 seconds to the side, you can watch those 30 seconds in the preview window.
Gosh, that would be very useful.
So that's what I do is I just grab the edge of the clip and then I just keep scrolling until I find what I want, and then
that works in Premiere as well.
Yeah.
You don't need to hear the audio.
Yeah, and then I just take the whole like let's say the clip I need is 2 minutes in.
We're not here to like correct Devu's technique.
Hold on, I don't know exactly
I'm not
what
saying
grabbing my
Hippo, you're gonna have to show me what you mean because I may very well do that already.
Yeah, like let's say the clip I want is 2 minutes into the episode, so I throw the whole episode into Vegas. I grab the edge of the clip and I just scroll until I see that moment I want. Then I drag the entire episode, up into the timeline that I'm using. Hit play until it reaches the part I don't want, hit cut, and then I just move the entire rest of the episode back out to the far edge of the timeline, and then I just keep doing that. Like I keep just scrolling through and finding the things I want. Yeah. But I cannot fucking stand to hear like any audio at all from anything happening in my timeline. I don't want to hear my voice. I don't want to hear the clips. I don't want to hear anything. Like, I play music over all the editing I do. I don't want to hear it. It drives me crazy. How
the fuck do you edit if you don't know what you're hearing?
I mean, I just have it like, I don't have music in my videos, so it's just my voice. So, right. You can hear your voice over the music. I have the music turned pretty low,
okay.
And then but everything is based around, like, I always edit based around the exact length of a sentence. So it's just, the clip starts when the sentence starts, the clip ends when the sentence ends, and that's how I do it. Which is pretty simple. And, it's all about minimizing how much, like, I have to hear it and stuff, because I don't want to hear it. It'll drive me crazy.
I just want to explain the way that I select clips, because it's very specific and it uses shortcuts that might be helpful for people. I have my videos in the side and, for levels and stuff. I click on one when I know that I need a clip from that level. And a lot of the time, if I'm talking about something specific, I would have written down in my scripts the time code for when that happens in the video.
Right.
So I would go to that, I would find the thing, and I would press the I key, which is the in button, and then move a bit and press the O key, which is the out button. So that is the section that is being brought in when I drag it into the timeline.
Right.
Then what I do is I unlink it from the audio, delete the audio because I never really need it, except for a couple times where I might. So the audio's gone, and then what I do is I will have a way that all of the video game footage in that review has been cropped and resized to fit the frame, because not always, correct. There's a way that is really handy if you just have like certain things set. You right-click on the video footage, click copy, and then right-click on the new video footage and click paste stuff. I can't remember exactly what it is, but paste attributes, and you can basically paste the keyframes for the motion, for the size, for the opacity, whatever it is, and all the effects, and you can just copy that into that new thing, and you can do that by dragging a box as well. So anytime I put a new clip in, I just copy all the information from the old clips, and I put them into the new ones, and yeah.
All right, that's cool. Let's not get so bogged down to the weeds, though.
Sorry.
It's fine.
It amuses me how technical everybody else gets, because I've said this before. The reason I use Vegas is that I just think it's incredibly simple, and what I mean by simple is not that you can do all that advanced stuff, but you can also just manually do everything very easily. And so for me, it's I could optimize everything and I could make it easier on myself, but it's easier for me to just parse it if I just do everything in order, start to finish. I don't know why. I obviously it takes more time, but I mean I edit fast as shit anyway, so it doesn't matter that much. I'm not sitting on a project for a couple of days or anything, or even months as Nate would be. But Davu, is that you about wrapped up with your writing and editing process?
Please say yes.
I mean, depends on what you want to say. I don't really need to add anything additional.
Okay. Tom, are you there yet? Are you here?
I'm back. I'm here.
Yeah, you want to talk about your writing and editing process?
Yeah, I mean, I hate editing a lot.
Preach it, brother.
Anyone who follows my Twitter knows that I've questioned multiple times if I should even be making videos because I hate it so much. It drives me to suicide. It's the worst. It's awful. I hate it. That being said, I do a lot of it. So, I mean,
that being said, you have some of the most pro-looking videos of any of us.
I don't know.
Your branding and stuff has always been totally on point. I remember just liking your end cards from the old Brony Curious videos. Those were right away very professional. I remember modeling myself after them at one point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty good at the graphic stuff just because I've been doing that forever. Yeah. And it's funny because I don't mind doing VFX stuff, the end cards and the animation stuff like that. I find really interesting. It's just the grind of here's my fucking dumbass voice and my dumbass face, and now I got to shoot all this fucking video and find all these stupid clips. I don't even care, but I've made my point. I wrote it. You can just read the text if you weren't all so fucking lazy, you goddamn millennials. And that's my mindset the entire time I'm editing. It's if YouTube was never invented, I'd be fine. Fuck everything. So that's my mentality when I'm editing. So it's just hellish, and I don't like it. I don't think I can I can't get too much into technical stuff because I use HitFilm, which I don't think anybody else uses.
I don't know that.
Right? It's free. It's free. There's also a paid version. I don't have the paid version. Well, I do now because they just emailed me. They're like, here's our $300 paid version. Do a video on it. I'm like, okay.
Nice.
So now I have the new version. But what I like about HitFilm is that it's free, number one, if for the free Express version, which is still really good. It's way better than iMovie, way better than Windows Movie Maker. And what's cool about it, it's Adobe Premiere and Adobe After Effects in one. Because you can do all the video editing, but you can also have all the VFX stuff if you want to do animation and visual stuff like that. Because I did all of Sorcerer's Lost in that too. It was the same program. Because it can do everything, which is pretty dope. But my writing process is pretty much very similar to yours, Nate, where you just get the idea, you have the thesis, the concept, and then you kind of just go and write it out. Like, I don't do a super fuck ton of research because a lot of the writing that I did back when I was doing reviews and stuff was very much like personal, like my personal thing. Like, that was the thing that I always thought was really funny, is like people give me shit for being like they're like, this isn't true or whatever, this isn't like true or what we want to hear. I was like, this is just my personal views on it, you know, like it's very much like a vlog style.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just talking about, this is my interpretation. If you don't like it, like that's fine. So I don't do too much research on videos unless it, like, the point I'm trying to make mandates like knowing the facts.
I mean, that's pretty crazy because you talk a lot of techno jargon about all the fucking reviews you do, and I guess you just know that shit.
Well, I mean, I don't do a lot of research on those either, just because like I'm doing research for fun, essentially. Like, I've read Engadget every day for the last, I think, 10 years now. Like, that's just part of my day, is going and reading blogs about all this shit. Like, that's just, I wake up and like 10 minutes in, like, that's what I do. It's like, oh, I wonder what happened while I was asleep. Like,
that'll do it.
So I know a lot of stuff about that. So like off the cuff. But it's two different processes. Like, we're doing like a review versus doing a product review, because there's like a lot more camera work and stuff involved with the product, because it's a physical object that you have to get footage of, and that's obviously different than you know, tracking down a cartoon and getting the clips you need out of that. So it's required a lot more like knowledge and learning about photography and cinematography and things like that. The beginning videos I did were really bad because I didn't have any of that shit. So it was all like handheld, done with like a point and shoot camera, which did not look very good.
Yeah, of course.
But now it's slowly starting to get better. The thing I was going to talk about with the camera, because if you're using the same camera I am, the T2i, what I ended up doing... Because like it doesn't have a flip screen, which sucks. My old camera did have a flip screen, but it was a point and shoot camera, and I had to sell it because I needed money, because I had to pay my bills. So I had to let that camera go, which sucks. I really liked it. So now I'm using a T2i, which is still a good camera, but it doesn't have the flippy screen. It's like older. It doesn't have a lot of like
that's
modern
like a death
features.
sentence. The no flip. Only now am I realizing what a fucking waste of money it was to get something without a flip screen. You can't do it unless you have a guy with you. But okay.
Well, this is my like ghetto tech solution, which is not really ghetto tech at all.
Yeah.
But it's a good way. The nice thing about those big DSLRs is they have a ton of fucking ports, and one of the ports on the side is mini HDMI. So if you get a mini HDMI adapter on eBay for like $1. Take it. Take your HDMI cable from your monitor. Take it out of your computer. Plug it in the adapter. Plug the adapter into the camera. Then turn it on, and the screen is on your computer monitor.
Oh my god, that's perfect.
I use that to shoot now.
That is fucking amazing.
It's great. And then what you need to do with the Canon firmware is there's an aftermarket firmware you can download called Magic Lantern, and I put that on my T2i. You put it on the SD card, and then you go into the Canon settings. You hit Update Firmware, and it'll overwrite the stock firmware with the Magic Lantern firmware, and that adds a bunch of new cinematography features. You can monitor your curves right on the screen. You can monitor your white balance. It adds what's called...
That's great, because I swear to God, the managing of like the white balance and shit on this computer is... this camera is fucking impossible.
Yeah.
I can't navigate these retarded menus.
The best thing that's going to save your fucking life, they have an option for focus peaking. Do you know what focus peaking is? Yeah. So you put focus peaking on there, and it'll have like red dots around whatever's in focus. So when you go to stand back away, if your face has like red dots on it, you know you're in focus.
I didn't even think this kind of shit was
blown
possible.
my mind to shit, Tom. Like
yeah,
I am,
so
like I'm about to go dig up like
on
Victor's old fucking T4i that he won't use anymore because he's got a real camera now, and I'm just gonna fucking steal it and
I would like sell my left nut for a T2i. Those things with Magic Lantern are great. So my baby little T2i is like very jealous. But yeah, Magic Lantern like will save your fucking life, and that's kind of what I'm like. The last like 7 videos I've shot were been on the T2i, and I'm slowly kind of trying to figure out how to make this dinosaur work for me.
Yeah, I mean, your fucking video quality like definitely jumped up in the last few, like in terms of framing and being in focus and the lighting not being shit or the white balance not being shit. Like it's gotten a lot better. Yeah, because I'm on the one hand I'm doing a lot of the camera stuff, then the other hand I'm looking into like post production, so like doing like color balance and white balance and crushing blacks and whites and getting like the contrast looking good. I'm trying to make it look very filmic. Like everyone's like, oh man, 60 FPS. I'm just like, I'm gonna do 24 FPS so it looks like a movie, because that's the look I like. So I'm going down when everyone else is going up. So it's a lot of just like tweaking with things like that, which all of that I find fascinating. It's the actual editing part that I want to like make someone else do, because it sucks and it makes Tom, sorry. Something I want to know about is you still do this, right? You use a teleprompter for all your stuff.
Yeah.
Like a makeshift one.
Yeah. So there's a video on YouTube by Film Riot. They're a great channel for like DIY filmmaking and stuff. And they had
completely cut out.
Oh, am I alive?
Yeah. Okay, we can hear you.
Yeah. So there's a channel called Film Riot, which is great for DIY filmmaking and stuff. And they have a tutorial on how to build a teleprompter. So just like to build, so what you do, you take like a 2x4 or like a piece of plywood, and then you screw in like hinges on a picture frame, and then prop that up at 90 degrees, and you put your camera in there, and you get like a screen or something you drop onto the plywood and reflect onto the picture frame's glass, and then you can read it. So what I did is I took my old iPad that someone from Twitter, I actually went on Twitter like a couple years ago. I was like, I need an iPad. I will pay somebody. And this guy was just like, I'll just give you this old iPad that I don't use anymore. It's sitting in a box. It's like super old and it's like cracked, but it doesn't matter. I'm like, dude, I don't care. I just need that. So I got this old iPad and I use that. And there's an application for the iPad called Prompt Smart. And it saved my life because I was using other online teleprompter software, but it auto scrolls. So you have to like keep up with the prompt. So if you fuck up, like it's gone. And so you're just like, well, I gotta figure that out. Prompt Smart's great is because it uses the iPad's mic to track your voice. So it only scrolls as you're talking. So you can stop talking for like 15 minutes if someone comes downstairs and like bitches you out or something. And then you can just go back and start right where you left off and it'll just start scrolling again. It's fucking magic. So whenever I do like reviews and stuff where I need to sound like an intelligent human being, like I'll usually script it out and throw it on there. And you just throw the camera behind it and you throw a piece of glass or a piece of cloth over it so it blocks out the light from the backside. So the camera lens doesn't see the reflection that's on the glass. It just looks like you're looking into the camera lens because the screen is right in front of it. So you're reading, but it looks like you're making eye contact. So that's super handy.
And the only reason I watch your videos and like I can just barely see the subtle movement of your eyes, and only because I know that it's teleprompter do I detect it. I don't think most people would ever realize.
It's getting more noticeable now because like I just got the T2i and it doesn't have the right lens to do video. It has a 50 prime lens, which is great for photos if you're going out on the street and doing photography because it has like already a good amount of zoom built in. But if you're like when I'm shooting now with this T2i, it's like 4 or 5 feet away from me, even though it looks like it's right in my face because the prime lens has so much zoom. So I need to get like a $70 pancake lens or something that'll work better for that. But like I'm super getting into photography and like cinematography and color grading now because I have to like force myself to learn it. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. You can do this, and you can change the colors of like the shadows and the highlights independently to get a more filmic look. And I'm just like,
you know what I do? I get a footage that's hopefully reasonably in focus, and then I just throw that shit into Vegas, and then I open color corrector, and I just fuck with the knobs until things look reasonably okay, and it works amazing. It's awesome.
I mean, it does, but I can always tell that you've color corrected your videos. You know, like it doesn't look natural.
You can't tell shit. You don't know.
Nobody
fucking
knows. I can always
knows.
tell that you've color corrected your videos. I know.
That's kind of what's nice about HitFilm is that you're feeling lazy. They have like under the presets, it's like auto color, auto contrast, auto lighting. It's like doop, 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 and then it fixes like 90% of the things. It's great for saving cell phone footage. Like every time I shoot with my iPhone, because I'll do that sometimes. It always comes out like Duke, and then I'll just like throw that on there, and it'll magically look like it was shot with like $100 better camera, just from doing the color correction.
I'm fascinated, Tom, that like, because I feel like the rest of us, we encounter a problem and then we're just like trying to solve it through like, like coming up with something, and you actually just like find a technology that can do that. You know, you're like, surely something out there is built to fix this problem that I can somehow get for free, and you'll find that thing. And the rest of us are sitting here like trying to fucking like reinvent the wheel or something just to have an image scroll across the screen.
I don't know. I just
don't want to spend any money.
I'll spend a little bit of money
and just say that you're an internet reviewer and please send me your product so I can do a.
Tom is amazing at finding, like he said, he uses fucking HitFilm to edit. Like it's a free program that you know that's as powerful as like a real fucking big boys program. You know that we're all stealing and barely know how to use.
It's pretty good, and they usually come out with a new version every
the Wizard
year.
of Vegas,
so there's probably
bitch.
a new one coming out
I'm a pro.
in the next few months, which will probably be even better. But it's really good, works great. I like it. I don't know. When my editing process itself, though, is usually just like lots of cursing, lots of swearing, lots of racial slurs that I regret later because I really shouldn't be saying those things, and just getting supremely fucking pissed off at shit not working.
Tom,
And
I
don't
read a
know.
tweet recently that you discovered my ancient method for dealing with editing, which is the good old-fashioned alcohol method.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I'm just like getting lots of rum, and I'll just have that by me while I'm editing. And every time something happens, I'll just take another drink. The reason I started doing it is because I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but the reason I hate editing so much is because editing hates me. I've been doing YouTube for almost 5 years now, and every single video has fucked up somehow. I've never had a video where it's just like, I started and ended and nothing happened. Footage will always get corrupted, the camera will always fuck up, the audio will always die on me. Every week, something happens. And
Man, it's like you've been forced to adapt, to learn all these advanced technological solutions because it's trying to fuck with you.
just last week, I recorded that video on the Artisol D10. And I had to shoot it 3 times because the first time the camera died. And I found out the camera died because my SD card was too low-tech to use with this new camera. It was too slow, so I had to go out and buy a $30 SD card. The second time I did it, the framing wasn't right. And then the other time I did it, I had everything right. It was like, oh man, this video actually went, this recording was great. Like, no problems. I didn't even stutter as much as I usually did. I put it into my computer. We're sorry, your memory card has been corrupted. So all the files were lost. So I had to record the video of me talking again and all the B-roll I had shot the 3 previous hours. So it just takes 3 days to record a 2-hour project because everything fucking hates me. And it's just oh my god. I really think God is up there to you should just be blogging. I'm going to make your life hell until you quit video and just blog like a normal person.
Yeah. I've definitely experienced some of that shit, but it sounds brutal.
Yeah, I've experienced, a lot of it, but it doesn't happen as much lately. And I mean, this is gonna make everybody mad to say, but I just bought better equipment. The way I fought my way around it is I don't want to have these problems. I'm just gonna buy all the best shit, and the best shit doesn't fail as much. When you've got a computer that can just crunch through. I mean, I can be 2 pass rendering something and recording a podcast and listening to. I wouldn't be listening to.
What are
music
the
while
specs on
recording a
your
podcast.
system? Because my system.
I remember watching
suck.
your video yesterday, or was it today? Did you about the new Guru thing or whatever? And I saw on your screen you were rendering a video while you were recording this, and I was like, "What is this nigga doing right now?" He's fucking...
I was recording. The screen capturing in 1080p with Open Broadcaster, and I was rendering a Let's Play at the same time, a 2-pass render at 720p, I think. I didn't have Audacity open at the time because I was recording through the program, but I
fucking closed Vegas before starting this call because I was afraid it was going to fuck my shit up.
Consider this, Nate. After I had finished that recording, I edited that video, and I rendered it at the same time as the other render was going.
Well, that's just stupid.
I just rendered 2 videos at once. It worked perfectly fine.
Hey, comment on the alcohol method, by the way. I want to say the alcohol, I do that too sometimes. If I had enough alcohol around me, I would do it probably a lot.
Yeah.
Because if it's a video where it's basic stuff that I know how to do sufficiently really well without having to double think it, there's that level of drunkenness, of mildly moderate drunkenness where you can do things you're really
you
used to
don't want to get
more
actual
drunk
because then
you
just have a headache. But if you just get buzzed,
that thorough buzz. That makes that dulls the pain of repetitiveness, and it's quite useful.
Well, okay, not to cut you off too soon, but perhaps we should just move on to Digi so we can wrap this thing up because we are at the 2 fucking hour
go
mark.
to Digi.
Yeah.
Holy damn.
Yeah.
Well, I always see. You might have noticed that every time we do one of these podcasts where we round robin, I always make myself go last so that. Because I know I'm going to piggyback on what everyone else says throughout the podcast, and that'll get out half of what I wanted to say, so that it's not an unbroken hour of me talking. But writing process. Because for me, writing and editing process are 2 totally different worlds now. Because the videos I actually write are edited by somebody else, and the videos I edit are usually not written. So it's I've got 2 whole different schools going on, and the writing process is totally different depending on what kind of video it is. If it's one that's let's say 10 cool directing tricks in Evangelion. You know, that involves like having to watch Evangelion and like take notes and find episodes where those things happen and stuff like that. Or like I just did one on this scene from Shirobako. Like I had to go rewatch that scene, make sure I had all my facts straight. And even then, I'm helped by having like an unbelievably good memory. I can usually remember most of what happens in shows that I've seen. Usually I can remember down to what episode it was, sometimes even where in the episode it happened. So, you know, I don't struggle too much with having to take notes on things. And I only really have to go and like recheck and rewatch stuff if it's a show I hate. Those are the ones where I probably wasn't paying the most attention. Like the Asterisk War, I've seen all of it like 3 times in total, you know, because I had to watch the whole thing, take notes, then watch it like, and then pause every minute, you know, for some, like when I dissect the first episode, it's like I'll watch 30 seconds of it, hit pause, and then write a page about those 30 seconds I just watched, and you know, probably have to rewatch them a couple more times while writing it. But it's very, when I do like watch stuff for a video, it's never like I watched it and took notes and then wrote. It's usually I just keep going back to the show. Like I have it open in another tab and I'm like, you know, write a paragraph, then watch the clip back and make sure, like the Shirobako one.
Hey, by the way, Digi, do you list yourself as having rewatched the Asterisk War on Mal for that
I've
reason?
rewatched it 3 times according to Mal, I think.
Okay, well I'm gonna go and mark myself as having rewatched it 6 times.
Yeah, that's probably accurate. So yeah, like I'll go through for stuff like that, but then a lot of it is just from memory, and it really depends on how much I can get away with. Like cool character designs, Gurren Lagann. I've seen Gurren Lagann 3 times in the past. The last time I watched it was early last year, so almost 2 years ago. Didn't matter. I was able to write it without rewatching the show. I was afraid I would have to rewatch the show, but I was like, I fucking know the character designs in Gurren Lagann. You know, it's not going to be a problem. But I have this excellent failsafe, which is the Devu, because usually when I write a video, you know, he's going to have to watch the whole show in order to edit it, because he has to know everything that's going to go in, and he has to find all the clips. So I'll send stuff to him, and like if there's something I say that outright is wrong, he'll usually tell me like, hey, I wasn't able to find a scene like that, you know, and I'll be like, I guess I have to rewrite it. Or I'll tell him, well, this scene's kind of like it, so use that one. You know, like this is close enough, this will make it look like I'm correct. So yeah, I kind of like, I use the fact that Devu is going to watch the show, like with Gurren Lagann, you know, I had him go back through, and there was one thing that like in that video in particular, Devu was editing it down to the fucking wire on the deadline with it. Like it was due by midnight and it was uploaded like at 11:30, you know, because we had to get it out by the end of the month. Good work. I would have probably had him cut out the part where I say that the Beastmen all have sketchy outlines.
Yeah.
Was not proven visually. Like the stuff you showed didn't prove that at all. And I would have totally
No, believe me, I looked extremely thoroughly and I could not really
well,
find
that's the kind of thing where if I had rewatched the show, I would have just cut that line out because it's obviously not true.
I don't know. I feel like the fact that the art, the direction did something to give you that impression means that there's something going on with the art.
Well, there is such a thing as
Sure.
fucking up, so, you know.
I mean, I think I just should have. The sentence is factually inaccurate. They do not have sketchy outlines consistently across the characters, and, like, you know, Devu showed footage which clearly proved me wrong, so I was like, okay, this should have been cut, but at that stage, like, it was too late.
I picked the clips that prove you the least wrong possible.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is sad, because I watched them and I went, oh, well, I guess I was wrong.
You know what? I believe I was going to tell you about that, like, when I was at that part, but you were, like, asleep.
Yeah, well,
so,
that's the problem of
asleep
editing,
at the wheel, more like,
editing
making
down
these
to the
fucking
fucking
videos.
literal last minute, because I noticed it and I was just like, we can't do anything about it. It's too late. This video has to come out by the end of the month, you know?
And thus that corporate shill influence starts to taint the art. Here we go, down the fucking rabbit hole.
Well, more importantly, has anyone complained about that?
Me, right now. Fuck you guys.
I mean, I was like, when me and Ben were watching it back, I was like, oh, that's clearly like a point I didn't make, and Ben's like, yeah, you know, that not proven.
Yeah, but then you'd have to cut out the part where you say that Lord Genome has the most crazy outcomes.
Now, and I mean,
like...
the other problem would be that by cutting out time, the video, because the video is exactly 10 minutes and 1 second long, and if it's over 10 minutes, that means you get the double on the advertising at the end of the video. So, like, what am I going to cut out 20 seconds worth of the video because I was kind of wrong and then, like, lose half the ad revenue I could have on it and retention,
You chill, bitch. You don't fucking lie and say things that are intentionally wrong.
Like
in
this case, it was a mistake.
If you want to
Maybe
be
you could have
good,
just
you just
altered
gotta
the line.
throw money at it.
No,
you
you
want to
can
be
do
good, get the
whatever
better
you want,
equipment,
but you
hire a
deserve
video
to be
editor,
shit on.
throw the shekels at everybody, and you win.
Well,
That's what I've learned today.
Think of it this way. I mean, if the on-screen footage is actively proving me wrong, then everyone can observe that I was wrong. I don't have to make a correction.
What is
everyone
that? What
knows
is that
I'm
excuse?
wrong.
Like, I don't need to be right because they'll just prove me wrong later. It's totally not on me, guys. It's everyone else's fault.
No.
Right,
I'm saying
I feel like
everyone.
you could have
everyone can look at the screen and go, "Well, he clearly was wrong about that. His editor found that out." So.
I don't know. I feel like most people
Whatever,
would probably
man.
be like, I guess those lines are sketchy. Maybe they just didn't show the sketchy parts.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
with the on that.
I feel like most people would doubt themselves. You could have the line could have just been altered to the Beastmen are drawn in a subtly different manner. We can just keep it vague.
it could have been fixed, but we didn't have time because the fucking.
Is that even true? I mean, Viral looks the same. I mean, he's weird, but
yeah,
whatever. I don't care.
The point being, it was a mistake.
Yeah,
and. But anyways, the writing process, for something like Shinbo in the 90s is like me and Devu would watch through the OVA. I'd note down all the things that happened in that OVA, and then I'd write 3 paragraphs about that OVA, and contain all the information. So some of it's written like that. Then some of it is just like me just pulling from my wealth of anime knowledge. And the way that my writing usually works is that it starts with the first sentence. Like I have an idea. I'm thinking, all right, anime, there's too much anime about high school, and my theory is that it's because high school is secretly the most interesting part of a Japanese person's life. How do I start this post? And I'll go outside and I'll be walking around and I'll just think, like, it's usually just a catchy sentence, like something fun, like, God, whatever I say at the start. Anime and high school are practically inseparable. Like, that's how I'd present this idea. Yeah. And then from there, it just goes. Like, as soon as I figure out that first sentence, the rest of the thing is pretty much locked in place, and I just sit down and fucking go. And it's rare.
Yeah, I don't know how many of you guys know Digi's writing history, but for those who don't, he just has always. I guess he said he always just writes in a stream of consciousness most of the time, and he just did it so much for so long
that
he would actually be really good.
And
at
I mean,
it.
you can go through my whole writing history on my blog and see everything I've written. And in the early days, a lot of it's barely comprehensible, and there's so many extraneous details. Like, the way I used to write is just, it's always been just whatever comes into my head, but as a result of that, I used to just not cut anything, and it was just like, I wouldn't think about it enough before writing it, I don't take notes, but I think on the thing. Like, if I have an idea for a video, I walk around, I consider it, I think what's the angle I'm going to approach it from, and then I write it all at once. Back then, it would just be like, there's all these personal anecdotes in there that don't belong, or just notations on how hot this character is totally out of nowhere, and not in the funny way I do it now, where it's and by the way, Derry's got the best body in the series, just saying, it's kind of a little jokey thing, but also something I did want to be in the video. How
can idiots like you say that when Nia there? And I'm talking about little baby Nia. Little baby Nia's got the best body in the series.
That's a close second. I mean,
I'm not even joking that child Nia, 14-year-old Nia, is one of the most attractive characters ever in an anime.
I agree. I don't think she's less attractive than Derry. I just think Derry has the best bod. She's got that fucking ass.
Well, she's the one who was in the tight-fitting outfits. You can't really compare.
That's true. Nia was she's grown up.
Nia's got kind of a banana body, she ain't got no ass. Derry's got that.
She's not much better, Derry. It's I'll study it later.
Yeah, please do study it intently. But anyways, my old writing was just a total chaotic mess, and I've talked about this before. How what I had this revelation where I had this teacher in college who told me like I had to write something for him, and he wanted it to be like 500 words. And of course, I way overshot and went for like 700 because back in high school, that impresses a teacher if you go over the word count they asked for.
For sure.
In college, this was not impressive. He was like, "This is too long." I asked for 500 words, and he's like, cut out all these extraneous details and stuff. So I start removing shit, and I give it to him again. It's like 550 words, and he's like, "Look, you really need to," he was like, "I think you have like a great written voice, but you need to learn how to simplify." He specifically said simplify, and I was like, okay, now I got to get serious. So I start like running through this thing with a fine-tooth comb and like making every sentence perfect, and like it was so satisfying to do that I then totally changed my anime blogging style and like started just like obsessing over every script and like perfecting all the sentences until that came naturally, and then I switched back to this more conversational freeform style, but now I can just condense information well. I just know how to do that. So yeah, it was just like this learning process of if you go back through, read like my stuff from 2010 and read the stuff in the summer of 2010, because you'll see this moment where I think the last post I'd written in my sprawling style was being an anime lifer, or like being a Yu-Gi-Oh lifer, something like that, where it was me observing how different people have called themselves, like there's certain shows that they're just obsessed with for their whole lives, and I never really had something like that, and I was like, I guess Yu-Gi-Oh is a show I've always been into, but like I'm not like way into it or anything. That's the point of the post. It's like 1,300 words, and half of it is totally extraneous. It could have been cut. And so after like I got this simplification lesson, I looked at that post and I was like, God, this is awful. Like, why did I write all this extra stuff in here? This is not what I should be doing. And so the very next like 3 posts are like Spartan. It's like 500 word tight little posts, and then it like expands back out from there. So that's sort of the development of my style, and now it's just the ideas in my head, write it all out, and it's very fast, very instantaneous, unless it's a huge project, in which case there's a lot of getting up, going outside, smoking, thinking of the next sentence, like my favorite example would be the Psychopaths video, because there's it's broken up into 5 parts, and I remember distinctly when I was working through the part where I was comparing Makishima to the villain from season 2, Kamui, and I'm just comparing these villains, and like every paragraph I had to like go out, think about it for a while, and like think of the perfect sentence and then start the next paragraph, and I just kept doing that. I just kept getting up and going out and thinking of the next perfect sentence and then writing the next paragraph, and it was so fucking
That's always
satisfying.
a fun time. Out of all the videos I've written and made, there's only one where I think I had kind of a pretty interesting to describe writing process, which was Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, where I basically this was my method. I start talking about something that annoys me, something that annoys me about Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. And any time I use the word "just," as in this is just annoying,
fuck my shit up, fam,
as in this is just ugly, or like that right there is just annoying. Anytime I felt the need to use the word "just," I then blew up the "just" into a whole paragraph of explaining, of justification, and that was how the whole thing eventually became really long.
That's
like just digivolved into
that's really interesting,
justification.
actually.
Yeah,
I like.
I was actually on a huge anti-just kick.
Yeah.
Like I was super
Reasonably
opposed
so.
to the word "just"
It's a
at the
terrible
time.
word. For that.
Hope you're aware that just the all caps word "just" is a big meme. It's a big meme, so
Yeah. So like most of my writing happens like that in these violent spurts, and it's also about figuring out what kind of video is this going to be is like the most important thing, because most other YouTubers have a defined structure. Like Nate, you have best anime ever. It's always kind of following this formula where there's going to be some kind of intro joke. There's going to be and Hippo as well. There's going to be an introductory sort of comedic scenario. Then you're going to introduce the topic of the media. Go through this and that. All of mine are so different that each one is like it's really mostly about what is this video? Like what is it? Is it a retrospective? Is it me like talking about just cinematic techniques? Is it going to be more emotional? Is this going to be personal? And the hardest video ever to write in that regard was Aesthetic is Narrative, because I had like 10 different ways I could have approached it that were all totally different. Like some of them were, let's take one picture and analyze that picture in depth, and that'll prove that aesthetic is narrative. And some of it was like, well, what if we made it really broad and talked about it in the way that like art can mean all these different things? And I just kind of ended up combining all of them in the video. It's like 20 minutes, and it's broken up into like all these different 5-minute sections of just like exploring these different concepts, and it took forever to write. And,
well, I don't know how Gib feels about it, but I think it's a little bit inaccurate to say that things are always the same in our vids and yours are always a totally different format. Because, I mean, they follow the formula of, you know, converting this text piece into video.
Right.
Yeah, like aesthetically, they're very similar in the way that they're done.
Well, sure.
And I mean, sure, the topics are different.
I just mean the approach. The approach I take is always the same. It's write it out all at once, and you can clearly tell my written voice, and you can tell it's me, you know. But it's just that the most important part of the whole writing process is figuring out what it is. You know, it's not about like if you know you're gonna do like an intro, then it's about how am I gonna do the intro? You know, what is the joke gonna be? How am I gonna stage this introduction to the video? For me, the entire thing is what the fuck is this video? You know, is it an analysis? Is it not? Is it a review? Is it does it contain information about the thing? Because I don't like to summarize. You know, so something like the Mob Psycho 100 video is like just analysis. Like, it's just a very bare bones, here's what's interesting about Mob Psycho. No real plot description except for where it, like, you know, where I can work it into talking about the show. But it kind of just starts off like, you know, this is what Mob's character is like, and here's what Reagan's character is like, and that's cool, you know. And so figuring out what the video was going to be is like how that came together, as opposed to you know, where's the plot description going to go? Where am I going to talk about characters and stuff like that? Which I feel is more what a normal review is like. You know, what I think most people go into it like there's going to be a description of the thing in there somewhere. I mean,
I spend a lot of time wondering about how I'm going to work in my X out of 10, you know, at the end of the video. That's really important. You got to get that right. Without that execution, the whole video is pointless.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of people who, for that is entirely accurate.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, so that's how the writing comes together for the ones that Devu edits. And then I just I do the audio, I ship it off to him, and it's done. And those are very much, like, they're just, in my mind, they're just text posts that are set to video. They're not videos in the, like, strictest sense of the word. They're not constructed, like, with the idea that they will be a video first. And I mean, I incorporate a lot of elements that I couldn't do in text, you know, where there'll be unscripted segments, like in that Too Many Anime High Schoolers or whatever. You know, there's a segment where it's just me in front of my collection, and I just use that as an example.
I mean, you have evolved your writing style a lot, knowing that it's going to be in the audio-video format.
Right. Like, I write...
But what Digi means is he's not, like, thinking about, like, how the video will be formatted, like, with things that can only be done with video, with, like, live-action segments and stuff.
It's, you know, back in the text blogging days, you would have to, if you wanted to describe, like, the way a scene plays out, you would have to, like, literally describe what happens in the scene, because you can't show it. I mean, we would usually use images and stuff, and, you know, Ghost Lightning innovated and used slideshows and stuff like that, but, like, you had to go into a lot more description, whereas now I can say a sentence like, you know, when animator Yutaka Nakamura does a scene like this, and I say this, and like in the text post, that is totally unhelpful. But in video, it's on screen, so that's what I mean by this.
Of course,
you know?
of course.
So like I do make considerations like that, but for the most part, it's written like a blog post that is being adapted into video. And I love that, because I always wanted, back in the anime blogger days, like we were always saying, wouldn't it be so much more helpful if we could show you what the fuck we're talking about? You know, like, wouldn't it be so much more helpful if I could just, like, when I say, you know, Shinbo has a weird aesthetic, if I could actually show the aesthetic, you would get it way more easily. And, like, that was something, you know, that me and Ghost Lightning were always saying, like, oh, if only we could do video. And then suddenly we could do video. You know? Not that he could, because he didn't have time. So, like, that's sort of where I come from, as opposed to coming from it, like I feel like you guys more come from, I want to make a funny video, and, you know, the review is more of a, like a vehicle to make an entertaining video.
I think of myself as a film director, personally.
Yeah. Exactly, and I don't at all. But then
Yeah.
the funny thing is that I actually do take that approach to all the other shit I edit, because it's funny. I hate editing as much as Tom, but I only hate editing when it's the scripts that I'm doing, when it's a video about like what I'm, giving to Devu. I enjoy editing when it's all just making shit up on the fly, when it's like just finding solutions, when like the video is being created in the editing, because then it's about,
of course, yes.
creatively,
that makes it more fun.
making something up. So like my vlogs, there's a reason that you might get a few more random musical interludes or just like weird things that pop up in the middle of a vlog or something, because it's like it's a lot more fun to problem solve there. And I don't do a lot. I'm a big fan of the idea that like even the smallest edit can change things massively, and I really picked that up from Jesse, where Jesse will do a video that's ostensibly just a vlog, but then like there's one moment where just the camera zooms in on his face right when he drops something, and it's fucking hilarious, and it just totally changes the nature of it, even though it's such a minor edit in the middle of what could be a 15-minute vlog,
Yep.
I mean, Plebe and the Weeb is kind of edited that way. Like, most of it's just us talking, but then he zooms in on our faces at funny moments and puts text on screen here and there, and it totally changes it into a much funnier product. Or just those weird explosions of things happening at parts. And so that's sort of the approach I take to, like, After Dark and to any more experimental stuff I have, is just I take a bunch of footage, and just if there's anything I can do to it, I do it. If there's not anything, I don't care. I don't go into it like, I don't go into filming thinking this will be edited into a joke later. I just film what I have, and then when I'm watching it back, if there's something that I'm like, oh, that would be hilarious, then I'll put it in there. And so that's why it's very inconsistent. If you watch all the After Dark vlogs, most of them are me talking into a camera, and then some of them suddenly have like all this weird stuff happening, and it's like, where did this come from? Or suddenly it's a workout vlog where I have Victor filming me working out, and I've got the anime playing on a monitor that's sitting next to me on a stool. And then I've got like 3 cameras set up in like weird locations, like to capture different angles on it, and microphones like barely hidden out of camera. So like sometimes one random video will be like a totally new setup. It's nothing I've ever done before. It's just like completely inventing the style of a new video just for this one video, and that's when editing is fun. That's when it's like all just cool stuff, and like, how am I gonna make this vision I have come together that's like nothing I've ever done before. But none of it's ever too complicated. I'm more about
that's right. All the like regular videos that I make for the DigiBro channel, almost all the time it is in as little time as possible, as efficiently as possible, getting to a normal acceptable quality. Because that is the most efficient for like being successful and actually getting statements out there.
Yeah.
But in the event that there is a video that is like this mess of different information lying on the floor that you need to staple together improvisationally as you go, which I only have one big video like that, which is my debate with a commenter, The Story of Tao, which is like this video with like 7 different parts, which I was writing and recording and editing like as I went through it, out of order. Like, I completely did it out of order. And I just did it all in one hectic 24-hour editing, writing, recording session in which I didn't sleep and I barely ate because it was so exciting. Like, I feel like, Nate, for as much work as you put into your videos, I feel like the percentage of time that you spend being, like, tedious out and just being like, ugh, is probably lower than most people because you give me the sense that you put a lot of fun creativity into every moment of it.
That's true. That's certainly true.
Yeah, I mean, that's anytime.
It's more a sense of despair looking at the timeline and seeing like how much I accomplished today and being like, just let it end.
Right, that's
God,
why
let
I
me
eventually
die.
didn't go with that style.
Yeah, right.
Like the first main originally that is how I went into videos. Whether or not I was good at the time, I did that whole every detail is something I've poured over style. And if I got paid $1 million every time for that, I would have never broken away from it. But
I mean,
but then reality.
I would love to see what Nate would do if you just made more stuff like, I can't fucking think of the word, or like what Gibbon Take's whole channel is, where it's like, it's just, you have an idea and you just like violently go about it messily and you just make it a thing. And like, that's because the Tao video, I can see where there's lots of like weird inventive tricks in there, like the way you do text, where like there's these reveals of text on the screen. And it's like all these slow wipes. Like I can tell you had to time all that out and think of how the text was going to appear. And I thought it was really cool. And it was like something that, you know, that's a technique you just kind of came up with for that video. Haven't really had to use again. But that's where it's the most fun. And I've done stuff like the anime is getting lazy with its meta video. It was like one of the last ones that I edited that I like really put effort into, and it's dirty as hell. It is way grungy. Images are just like flying in and out of the screen at random. There's all these like weird low res things, because I love, like, the most fun to me is when I do like really multimedia visuals, when I grab like you know, footage from real life and then footage from anime and then images and then like weird pictures, and like it all kind of coalesces in this like maelstrom, and it's ugly, but it's a lot of fun to do, to have like weird footage. And my favorite, and this is the most like ever that I had an idea that way outstripped my ability to execute it, is where I'm trying to say a tidal wave of light novels crashes over Japan.
Oh Lord.
And I just I took footage of a tidal wave, like, you know, crashing over Japan, which is not as easy to find as you would think, like to have one that was like actually at the shore. Like most of it's in city, so I wanted one that was like the waves actually coming onto the beach. And the problem with it is that the camera moves in this shot. So like, you know, if it was just a stationary shot of waves coming in, it would be really easy to keyframe and animate a bunch of light novels, you know, surfing up over the shore. But unfortunately, the camera's moving, so I have to constantly change the perspective of all the light novels, and like each one has to be like halfway poking out of the water, and they have to be moving on like the same kind of speed. It was a nightmare. Like it was way beyond what I could do. way beyond. Like trying to measure out every keyframe to match the camera movement was fucking impossible. I mean,
if that was like 5 seconds long, doing every frame for like, I don't know,
exactly.
Too much.
It took like, I think it was 10 seconds of clip, and it took like 2 hours to do, and it looks like shit, you know, like that's 2 hours to get it to even the level that I was willing to go, and you can clearly see everything looks like a fucking mess, and it's ugly as hell. But it was a lot of fun, like to have that idea and to just go and do it, you know. And I'm sure if Nate had done the same idea, he would have executed it all the way and edited that for 2 fucking days until it was perfect.
That is what I do.
But like, it's definitely, that's when editing's the most fun, is when you have this vision of something that you have to like completely invent how it's going to be made. And you know, even if it looks like shit, at least it was fun to do.
Like with the whole Gurren Lagann Part 1, I just came up with that whole stop motion thing, and
I think the only time I actually had fun editing was editing Tale of the Smartest Pony Man. That was when everyone was proven wrong, and I edited all the comments popping up.
Oh, right, yeah, you were so right about that. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
that was the best video
ever.
One
time I edited with a smile on my face, because that was the fuck you I've been waiting years for.
I forget. What was the event that transpired? Just remind me.
It was when the little princess bitch was born, and she was born in Alicorn, and they were both like, we don't fucking know how that shit happened. And for like 3 years, I've been heckled for my position on that.
Even though that completely contradicts other things we've learned in the series, but it's all out the window. So whatever.
It was a good day until everyone
a lot of the
started
time when I'm
nothing, and then it was a bad day.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Fuck off, everybody.
I only really like editing when I can make myself laugh by a joke.
Yeah.
Like if I've got a joke going and I play it back and it's like, yeah, then I have the power to continue for the day. But a lot of the time it's just like, it didn't work. I did all that preparation, the recording, the live action, the putting all the things in there, and it falls flat. So sometimes I just have to delete it.
Oh, brutal!
It's really annoying.
You know what joke you did recently, Gib, that I really liked? It was in the Rayman video. Was when you're talking about the game and then you stop and you turn and it goes to the other camera angle. You make your next point. Then you just stare at the camera for a little while and you're like, that was a joke. That's why I changed the angle. And you hold on that and like spell it all out. And it takes like 20 seconds to do. And I just lost my shit.
I'm going to be honest. Didn't care for that joke. Thought it went on way too long.
That's what made it funny, was that it was awkwardly long.
Well, okay, so I went through the like giggle initially, and then the like, okay, let's move on. And then the like secondary, oh, okay, he's doing it too long. And then it just kept going.
I laughed harder the longer it went.
All right, fair enough. Hey, but you know what I was going to say about the whole getting bored thing? The great thing about having like doing things the way I do, where I put my music down and then I edit visuals after I've got that laid in. Like the video I'm currently doing, like I already know where all of, like the emotional fucking hits are gonna come, and I've got it all mapped out. So, like, at the end of the day, I have a ritual I sort of do. At the beginning of editing and at the end of editing, I just watch everything I've done from the very start. And, like, I can see it starting to develop, and it feels so good to watch it grow.
Funny thing about that, because Devu was saying that, like, with the current stream of videos he's been editing for me, he has not been watching them back at all. Like, at no point in the editing, because he knows that I'm gonna watch it.
Oh, half the time. I'm already tired of it before I even watch it back.
Okay.
Like,
but the other half, like the Shinbo ones, those are more complicated. I do need to watch those back.
Well, like, with the like the Gurren Lagann and Shirobako and Anime in High School ones, like, he finished and then he called me over and, like, I sat down and watched it, and he just fucked off to another room, like, and I just watched the video and, like, you know, if I didn't have any complaints, then what does it matter to him? You know, like, because he's editing it for me, I'm the client. So, like, you know, and I usually have, like, 1 or 2 things I want him to change. He changes those things, doesn't even watch it back, which fascinates me because I watch back what I'm editing constantly. Like, every time I do, like, even if it's a long video, I'll watch back, like, the whole fucking... right now, I'm in the middle of a fairly inventive editing. I won't say it's inventive, but it's different from what I usually do for like this kind of unscripted vlog thing where I'm splicing in lots of stuff, and, like, just to check the flow, I'll, like, watch like 20 minutes of an hour-long video back just to see, like, do I think this feels right? You know, like, do I like how these clips are cutting in, or, like, you know, or do I just like the rhythm of how I talk? Even, like, my totally unedited vlogs, I usually watch a few times before I post them. And so, like, I really want to know. I want to know exactly what I'm posting. I want to know it down to the core so that, you know, if I look back at it, I'll immediately recognize it and not have to, like, especially for comments and discussion, because when there's a video I haven't seen as much, then, like, people will bring it up and I'll be like, what? I don't even fucking remember saying that, you know?
Yeah.
So I want to have a good grasp of what I've been talking about recently.
I agree. It makes sense, though, that Devu doesn't... I mean, since he knows someone else is going to be reviewing, he has the luxury of, you know, just not worrying about it as much.
I remember something I was going to say about the being happy when you're editing. Whenever I'm editing, like, a stupid joke video for Give and Take, like the one I did about the why you should vote thing, I had the idea of, like, the thumbnail is just boring, but the video itself is weird, and that I made that, like, real quick before the election was over, because the election was going on at the time, and I was like, I was smiling the whole way through. I was like, it's so cool, and that's why I wish Give and Take was the most popular channel ever, because I would get so much money. I have moments where I'm like, should I just start putting, like, better thumbnails on Digibro After Dark and just try... Like, part of me doesn't want the channel to grow because I like that I can do whatever I want, there's no expectations, and the comments aren't total shit most of the time. But, like, you know, all I'd have to do is, like, give it nice thumbnails, and that channel would blow up. I mean, it already has 50,000 subscribers, but, like, it could be like Ethan and Ela, where, like, their side channel became as big as the main one eventually. There's always a temptation, because I'm like, man, wouldn't it be fun to switch to just being this, like, fucking unhinged hobo vlogger, you know? But you know, I kind of value the main channel, and I like having a place where I can dump literally whatever the fuck I want, and nobody will question it too hard.
Yeah, that's pretty important to have. I mean, because if you did that, I'm sure you would just make another channel where you could post things that you really don't give a shit about, and it would just go on forever.
I even had, like, I've had a few times where, like, I actually had to debate, like, is this so shit that it shouldn't even go on Digibro After Dark? Like, should just be on Modal Soul, you know?
I love these tier lists of, like, importance.
Well, I mean, it actually was, like, because originally After Dark was not just anything. It was, like, just stuff that wasn't for the main channel. So, like, I did have my old channel, Modal Soul Productions, where I'd post, like, weird music videos and stuff. But then eventually I was like, you know what? Like, I want these weird music videos to actually have some audience. So fuck it. Fuck everyone who subscribes to Digibro After Dark if they can't take it. You know, like, this channel is for the powerful. It's not for people who are going to meekly unsubscribe because a weird rap video that says nigger 200 times showed up, you know?
Agreed. So, are we done here? Are we all wrapped up?
It's been going for quite a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this has been a long one. Yeah, I suppose. Any time that we do one that's like each of us talk about a thing on our own, it always ends up.
Well, we didn't know
long.
Davu was going to be here until like
That's
the
true.
last minute. So like I had kind of thought, oh, this will be short. We only have 4 people.
I demanded to go on because this is the first time in like 20 episodes I've really cared to be on an episode because, god damn it, my couch wedge is so cool and I need people to know.
Well, I'm glad it got out there. All right, well, thanks for listening, everybody. And by the way, once again, let me say that our this whole suggestion here, this whole topic that we were in, was a suggestion by a guy sent to our Twitter account at TP Crastinators. So please go tweet all your suggestions there. Give us everything. Give us suggestions. If you want to make art for us, give it to there. There's finally a place
we
to
need
send
these suggestions.
things.
Every week we scrap through our
you
shitty
guys don't know the shit
hours.
I go through every week trying to get these fucking people to care about something for long enough to start to make a fucking call about it. So please save me from myself. Help me out. Send shit there. And once again, let me thank at Spacey Filmer for their suggestion for the writing/editing process. All right, thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be working right now. I'm supposed to be working right now. But I'm not working. I'm doing nothing. My dick I'm jerking. Myself I'm sucking. I am an asshole. I am a stupid. Wrong with me? I'm supposed to be making money. I'm supposed to be creating funny things that the people gladly will pay for. Artistic genius, that's what they came for. Instead I'm tweeting, hashtag repeating. That's why there's no heat and holes in the ceiling. Yeah, it's quite the burden. It's a hard knock life, being a genius.